everybody. Happy Wednesday. I hope you all are doing well. I've got the lights all turned off in the house with the curtains closed, but yet it's still kind of light because the days are very long. But that's okay. By the end of the stream, they'll be dark, and that gives us some time to, fit the mood atmospherically. It starts out light, but then gets darker. It's how they say, intentionally aesthetic. Anyways, great to see you all. Hello, Shirley. Hello, Proxima. Welcome. Hope we didn't miss too much. I mean, this stream just started. Last time, we did learn a lot about Rena's backstory. I'll try to summarize when we actually get to the title screen. We'll do a very quick recap, and then we'll dive right in. Things are going pretty interestingly. I think I like this chapter more than the previous one, just based on what has happened thus far. But No, I don't want to install Chapter 5 of Higurashi again. No, I think we're done with that one. No, we're heading to Chapter 6 again. I thought that was weird. I'm like, why is Shion on the cover of Chapter 6? She's not. I just had the wrong chapter selected. Anyhow, let's open things up. Hey, X-Dude, welcome to the stream. Welcome. Just in time. I've also been reminiscing over the last few days on some of my favorite tracks from Higurashi. So the one you heard in the stream intro, that was my favorite track from the earlier chapters with the remastered OST, which I don't think we're getting that track anymore in game, which is such a shame. I love that one. That was the track where everything changed when we first got a glimpse at Crazy Rena. It was deeply memorable. Yeah. Alright, so welcome back to Chapter 6 of Higurashi When They Cry, everyone. So, quick summary of last time. So we got a look into Rena's past and her mental state. It's pretty clear she has depression, and she's obsessed with trying to be happy, which is why she puts on such, an outward face. And she kind of had the realization of, wait, I'm depressed, but why? My life's not that bad. So, her backstory, basically, her mom was a fashion designer. They moved away from Hinamizawa so she could advance her career. Her dad basically didn't have anything to do, but still did it to be supportive. Her mom cheated on her dad, got pregnant, and then divorced her dad, leaving him, kind of a broken mess. Rena saw her mom and her mom's new man were kind of trying to manipulate her, so she's like, F you, Mom! And then stayed with her dad. They moved back to Hinamizawa after Rena had some mental issues. And then she's making good friends. Her dad started dating Rena, the new girl, who, Rena just instinctively didn't like. And we learned that she's colluding with Satoko's uncle to just con people out of their money, including her dad. So, yep, we learned that. And now Rena's making plans of what to do. And she's very obsessed with there are good people and bad people in the world. The good people you treasure, the bad people you do whatever it takes to make them go away. So, yeah, what could possibly happen that's bad here? Anyways, let's load. Badoop. You're going to NYC Friday. Well, congrats. I hope you enjoy your trip. Hopefully that'll be a lot of fun. All right, let's continue. All right, are we back to Keiichi's perspective now, or still in Rena's? Oh, it's school, so... Oh, we're still Rena's perspective. I really like how just a simple change in font color immediately makes it apparent. That's fantastic. Oh yeah, we're gonna ask Shion's bodyguard if he can, intimidate Teppei and Rena for us, so we don't have to get our hands dirty. But clearly that's not gonna work, so... That's the mistress Uncle Hojo was dating with Aunt Hojo was still alive? I think so. So my theory on that is... I'm pretty sure his mistress died, mysteriously in Chapter 3, which is what caused him to move back to Hinamizawa, because he's like, oh, shoot, well, Rena can't take care of me, so now I need my niece to do it instead. So my theory is that eventually we're going to reach the point where Rena feels like she has to kill Rena. She's going to kill Rena. Maybe we cover it up, but then that is directly going to cause Satoko's uncle to come back and start abusing her. Which is probably going to have Rena be driven crazy with guilt. Maybe she'll kill the uncle this time, but she's probably just going to get progressively crazier like Keiichi did in Chapter 3. So we might be getting a bit of a mirror of Chapter 3 this time around, and maybe a bit of Chapter 1 as well. We'll see. Also, on that subject, I was thinking about this the night after the last stream. Because what I was kind of thinking, I'm like, when was this going to get really dark? Because each chapter has kind of been progressively getting darker than the last. So, Chapter 1 was very psychologically dark, but that was kind of it. Chapter 2 was a lot darker because it had, like, actual torture stuff, although it was more implied than anything. Chapter 3 had, like, the really dark abuse for Satoko. Chapter 4 doesn't really count. That was a bonus episode that was short just for some extra lore. Chapter 5, obviously, was the darkest one up to that point, with the torture actually being, like, on screen and described. So I'm wondering, either we're going to be taking a step back this chapter, or how are they going to make it darker? And that's when it occurred to me, oh, I hope this is not what happens, but if Rena keeps going down this road and gets crazy enough, she might attempt to kill her own mom. And she might attempt to kill her half-sibling as well. Because Rena didn't have really a reaction to her mom being pregnant again. It was just like, that was it, and then, like, never talked about it. But that if that comes into play, that could end up being very dark. Hopefully that won't be the case, though.
シオンの監視役だよ。
Poor guy.
監視役なの？
まあね。シオンのやつ、私と比べると突拍子もないことをするからさ、監視役が必要なわけよ。
Yeah, that's putting it mildly, Mion.
ミオンもシオンも、
Oh,
そ
no.
の意味においちゃ互角だと思うぞ。
It's new Keiichi. Yeah, fist bump. Keiichi-kun cut into the conversation. They ended up making a lot of noise, teasing each other like they always do. Mion made it sound like that man, Kasai-san, is some sort of territory boss in Okinomiya. Whew, it wouldn't be easy for me to meet him in person. But because he's Shi-chan's watchdog, I might be able to find a way. The problem, though, is that I don't have any connection to Shi-chan either. That's for the best. We hang around every once in a while whenever she comes to Hinamizawa, but I've never called or visited her. I have no idea how we can meet. All you have to do is say, I have information on Satoshi, and boom, she'll be there. Even if I could meet Kasai-san, there's no guarantee that he'd help me. He seems like the kind of person who doesn't like to gossip about others. He told me about Rina-san at the coffee house only because Shi-chan pushed him to. Plus, the situation could grow worse very quickly while I waited for the chance to meet him, so any help he might offer could come too late. Yeah, Kasai, the second best man in the game. I mean, he's up there, yeah. I mean, if only he didn't have to work for Shion. Unfortunately, that is some negative points in my book. I remember Kasai-san told me that, as her next step, Rina-san usually sees her partner to threaten their catch. Or uses. That would signify the end of her performance. They were going to take all of my father's money. I wasn't feeling a sense of crisis yet, but that time might be coming very soon. Even as I was at school, taking a class peacefully, that man might already be at the house right at this moment threatening my father to hand over his bank books. Too bad this ain't America. If he did that at your house, you could just shoot him. Once I become anxious, I get more and more anxious. I could feel a big pressure on my chest as if the ceiling had collapsed on me. That's how it's gonna go. You're gonna get crazier. You're gonna get crazier. Hey, Hayden, welcome. Well, I'm kind of out of humongous entertainment games to play, more or less.
いやー、平和すぎて退屈だぜ。
That's not the face that belongs with man, I'm so bored, to be frank. Let's go to console art style for a bit. Higurashi is humongous small h entertainment. It is humongous entertainment in a different sense, yes. Adjective. Keiichi-kun talks to me yawning. You know he's not.
そうかな。レナは平和で退屈なの大好きだよ。
俺はごめんだね。
Shirley, I don't think Rena is even going to warn her dad, because she's already convinced that he's going to be like, no, I don't believe you, and then side of Rena over him. And then he'll tell Rena about that. Rena will kind of be in that Rena knows, and then that could make things more complicated.
せめて火星人が襲来するくらいのことが、毎週とは言わないまでにも、月末くらいには欲しいところだぜ。
If aliens are actually the plot twist, I'm kind of gonna be upset.
あ、
定期テストはなしでだぜ。
もし本当に火星人が攻めてきて、世界中が滅ぼされて、
What the heck,
南沢も
Rena?
焼け野原になったら、
What kind of a question
ケイ
is
チ
that?
君は退屈が紛れて満足かな？かな？
いや、そこまでは言ってねえよ。何かアクシデントの一つもないと、退屈で溶けちまいそうだぜって言いたかっただけだぜ。
There is nothing wrong with a boring life, Keiichi. He had no idea what I've been going through, of course, and that's why he says that. But I was still irritated by his insensitivity. I couldn't understand why he wouldn't be satisfied with such a peaceful life. He never has to doubt that today and tomorrow will be as fun as yesterday. I was all too aware that boring and peaceful days could be destroyed all of a sudden. I knew that boring and peaceful days could come to an end all of a sudden because your mom wanted to divorce your dad. I knew that you could feel like you didn't belong anywhere in your own house because your dad had gotten a new girlfriend. Even so, you had to repeat that same kind of day over and over again. That's why I want to live every day happily in order to be prepared when the world comes to its end. When? You mean if?
レナは日々が幸せそうでいいよな。
If you're just subscribed for the humongous entertainment content, then you can feel free to do that. I probably won't be streaming it again in a very long time, just because I've cleared pretty much all the games. And I can't think of anything, like, fun and new to do for Backyard Baseball.
そういうのもスキルなのかな。
そんなの羨ましがられても困るな。
日々を退屈でなく幸せに過ごすのって何かコツでもあるのか？あるなら教えてくれよ。俺も得得してみたいぜ。
そんなの簡単だよ。気づくだけだもん。
気づくって？
There's no way he could realize it. And it was probably better that he didn't, because that meant he was truly happy. He's also a little dense, but I think you have to be dense to be a visual novel protagonist. Otherwise, you solve the game too quickly.
気づくだけだよ。幸せな日々が有限であることに。
How ominous. Keiichi would not be unintentionally insensitive if he told him what was going on. True, I also get that you probably don't want to trauma dump on your guy friend. Bye, Mion. The three of us walked home from school like we always did. Mi-chan said goodbye to us at the corner of the street where she took her separate way home. She walked away waving, but I chased after her.
みーちゃん。
何？
Mi-chan apparently thought she dropped something, and she looked around to see what she dropped.
忘れるところだった。実はね、昨日喫茶店でしーちゃんと笠井さんに会ったの。その時にね、笠井さんの落とし物を拾ったの。
Did you? Of course he hadn't dropped anything. I was lying. Oh, if I could meet him, I'd just show him whatever. Tell him I thought it was his and apologize for my mistake.
へえ、あ、そう。それありがとう。届けとくよ。
それでね、
Yeah,
レナが直接返したいの。
we've got to meet Beardy in person, Rena.
Huh?
She's like, what? Mi-chan looked surprised. I couldn't blame her. I'd met him only once. It's weird to want to give something back in person to someone you barely know.
まあ、そりゃ構わないけど、なんでまた？
サングラスにお
Oh
ひげがね、
no. Oh no, Rena.
ちょっぴり可愛かったの。
Could I fudge my true intentions with my cute mode? I tried it anyway. Mi-chan usually takes words at their face value, and indeed she seemed to buy it. I mean, Rena, he is pretty handsome. I gotta give you that.
口ひげを引っこ抜いてお持ち帰りしちゃダメだよ。
Yeah, he wouldn't be happy about that one.
で、その、どうかな？会えるかな？
I agree, Shirley. I think if the characters communicated better, the game would probably be over quicker. But it also probably wouldn't be as as mysterious.
忙しいのか暇なのか全然見当つかない人だからね。今度ひなみ沢に来る用事がないか聞いておくよ。
I needed to know when as soon as possible. Of course, I wasn't going to say I wanted to meet him today, but at least tomorrow or the day after tomorrow.
なんだよ。お前ら何やってんだ？
I just want to meet Beardy again. What? Who's Beardy?
レナがね、新しい恋に目覚めちゃったんだってさ。
Okay, let's watch his reaction. If he keeps his smile, he doesn't love Rena. If his smile disappears, he probably has some feelings for her.
違うよ。
Unless he immediately knows she's just teasing at him.
なんだそりゃ。
あ
面白そうな話だな。俺も混ぜろ。
Maybe he doesn't care. Maybe he doesn't like her that way. I didn't want her to leave it up in the air, so I told her I think I should give it back to him as soon as possible. I'm sure he's looking for it too. Mi-chan said okay twice and walked away, waving. I hadn't yet thought about how I was going to ask for help when I would meet him. He seemed to be in a higher position than Rina-san and her partner. If he agreed to help me, it would be very encouraging. But there was a possibility that he'd tell me he didn't want to interfere in other people's private matters. He could just say the whole thing was another love triangle between a father, his daughter, and his lover.
じゃあなレナ、また明日な。
また明日ね。
See ya! See ya, Broseph. He probably doesn't believe her and was ready to tease her. Yeah, that's entirely possible. Mion does tease people a lot. I said goodbye to Keiichi-kun and walked home alone. Ah! After Keiichi-kun was gone, everything went quiet, and my head became clear. What I needed at that moment was quiet time to think about what I should do from then on. I shouldn't depend on Kasai-san to solve my problem. He'd most likely decline my request, so I'll have to think about some alternatives. Good for you, Rena. Way to be coming up with the backup plans. This is exactly how I would do it. It's probably better that I just do that. A love triangle between a father, his daughter, and his lover. Those words bothered me, because I've seen an unhappy triangle like that before. That sort of thing had happened to Satoshi-kun. Oh, that's true. Satoshi-kun experienced it last year. He fought for his sister in a triangle with his aunt. It was the same situation as mine. I was trying to fight to protect my father. Satoshi-kun fought alone. Nobody helped him. All I did for him was give him my sympathy and compassion. I didn't think I could do anything more than that. I felt sorry for him, but I didn't really help him out. Irresponsibly, I tried to cheer him up, and I probably told him something that I thought would make him feel better, but that hurt him instead. I recently realized how much I hurt him with my insensitivity, because Keiichi just hurt me in the same way. I'm going down the same path Satoshi-kun went last year. I feel like I'm experiencing deja vu, an unusual repetition. Would that mean that I'd be the one who gets demoned away this year? I should be okay. I wasn't thinking about running away from Hinamizawa. Was I? I wasn't thinking about running away from Hinamizawa, but I thought about running away from my home many times. That's why I made the place I could escape to in the garbage dump. That dump happened to be in Hinamizawa, but what if it wasn't? Running there would be the exact same thing as running away from Hinamizawa. I really shouldn't think like that. Oyashiro-sama would get mad at me. Oyashiro-sama is really scary. Well, yeah, as demons tend to be. I saw flickering lights in my head. Oh no. Every time I tried to remember that time, my mind would stop working properly. Tell them the truth! As a guy who's very private, I get it. I remembered the vivid covers of my psychoactive drugs. The flickering lights and clouds started spreading in my head. They were so bright and annoying. Don't try too hard to remember. Don't try too hard to remember. No. I couldn't stop the flickering lights in my head. Is she having this because she isn't taking the drugs, or is she having these because she is taking the drugs? Although, if not taking the drugs means you turn into Psycho Yandere from Chapter 1, keep taking the drugs, Rena. This is an improvement. I couldn't have that feeling. I had to fill my heart with another feeling. Yeah, there was no time for these crazy flickering lights in my head. I had to think about what I should do when Kasai-san declined my request for help. I had to protect my father from Rina-san and that bad man. Wait, why was I still calling her that? Rina is Rina. Rina. She's a bad person who deceived my father and tried to bring us unhappiness. Bad people bring bad things into the world without even doing anything. They're different from the other 90% of people who aren't bad. I think that percentage is a little off there, Rena. If you let them loose, they'll even ruin the people around them. When you have one bad tangerine in a box, it spreads its fungus to the other tangerines around it. That's what bad people are like. I couldn't remember how Satoshi-kun resolved his triangle last year. But I could still see the flickering lights in my head. They're still flickering. 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 Just as the swirl of flickering lights were making me dizzy, I saw my house. I also saw Rina-san's scooter parked by the side of the gate. No, not the scooter. The moment I saw the bike, the flickering lights disappeared, and I regained control of myself. Rina-san spent the night last night. She told me she had to work today in the evening, so she would be leaving soon. But I didn't want to be around her, even for the little while until she left. I said, "I'm home!" real loud, rushed into the house, pretended that my friends were waiting outside, and rushed out of the house. But Rina-san stopped me.
あら、おかえり、レイナちゃん。
Hi.
あ、 こんにちは。
That's almost exactly what she said. This is the first time I thought Rina-san's smile was ugly. It only stood to reason. I had realized the scheme she was hiding behind that smile.
今日ね、お父さんと一緒にお昼は5グラまで行ってきたのよ。
That's nice.
キーマカレーがとっても美味しいお店でね。
My father poked his head out of the living room and says, I want to go there again next time we go. I will really like that curry. I want to go there again next time we go? That's redundant. I wondered if he meant with me next time or with me and her. Anyway, I hate it when Rina-san says, your father.
それでレトルトをお土産に買ってきたの。
What type of curry?
後でぜひ食べてみてね。美味しいから。レイナちゃんはこのお店知ってる？
I did know the restaurant she was talking about. It kind of sucked. I saw it in a magazine. It's a new restaurant that just opened recently. I also remembered that it was an expensive restaurant. The amount of money they spent on the take-home curry alone must have been enough to cover the cost of all of our dinners for several nights. What kind of a scam artist place is that? Since I was aware of what was in the bank books, it was hard for me to stay calm.
それは楽しみです。ありがとうございますね、リナさん。
She's got a good poker face and poker voice, though.
それでね、レイナちゃん。ちょっとみんなでお話があるんだけど。
Uh-oh.
ごめんなさい。ちょっと友達を待たせてるんで出かけますね。またゴミ捨て場で宝探しなの。
レイナちゃんは宝探しが好きね。
Yeah, I find a lot of great treasure.
私も今度行ってみようかしら。
Yeah, you're probably gonna want to put on a more less revealing outfit if you're going to the dump.
ではすみません。失礼します。
Every time Rina-san moved her arms or her head, the scent of her perfume struck my nostrils. I hate the smell of her perfume, so I couldn't stay there a second longer. I rushed out of the house and started running to get away from her perfume. The rubber band inside me, the one called Rena, was stretched all the way to its limit. I'm pretty sure I'd explode and go crazy if the rubber band broke. Uh-oh, we don't want Crazy Rena. Crazy Rena is the scariest one out of them all. I didn't want to feel that way inside my own house. My house was supposed to be the place where I could open my heart freely. I ran away. I ran away from there. I ran farther and farther away from there because it was no longer a place I belonged. You just realized this is literally a crime she can report? If she has the evidence of it. The problem is I think all she has is her personal testimony, which is not going to be enough to convict. I was running to escape to a place where I did belong. Because right now, it's like, okay, she's got the bank reports but all that says is her dad spent a lot of money for Rina. And they could just yeah, they're going out together. That's why. She doesn't have any actual tangible proof that she is going to, actually con him out of the money. It's a difficult crime to prove. Plus, Uisi is too busy, investigating the curse of Hinamizawa and playing Mahjong at Hooters. I was running to escape to a place where I did belong. Didn't I decide to fight against that woman? Didn't I decide to fight against her either by myself or with my father? But then, once I saw her fake smile, a chill ran up my back. It was like I picked up a stone, found a carpet of bugs underneath it, and put it back on the ground in a hurry. I rushed out of the house as fast as I could. Did I want to fight, or did I want to run away? Was I just choosing to spend a peaceful time at my hideout, believing that tomorrow would be the same as today? I couldn't do that. I didn't know when they'd spring their trap. I couldn't afford to waste any time. I knew that deep down. I knew that, but I just wanted to run away. I couldn't stop myself from running away. And so, I did run away. At times like this, the mattress in my hideout would feel so soft. That I knew. Rena's gonna go and drive the car. The cries of the Higurashi were soothing to the ears. They sounded as soft as my mattress. They were like music. They didn't force any feelings upon me. They cried as if to tell me to be just who I am. To just be who you are. It was always so quiet here that I immediately noticed the purr of an engine coming closer. People used to come here and make a lot of noise during the dam conflict, but now nobody really comes here. This is a place forgotten. So it was rare to see somebody come through here at all. I sat on the roof of the abandoned car and waited for the intruder to go away without looking their way. But the purr of the engine stopped. I'm not stupid. If it stopped, I knew exactly who it had to be. I heard the person calling me, but I ignored it once. The person came closer, making it harder for me to ignore her, and she called my name again. I turned around this time. Yeah,
リナさん
there she is.
レイナちゃん、結構耳遠い方？
I just can't imagine why I wouldn't want to talk to you.
すみません多分逆風だったんで聞こえにくかったんだと思います
Is it just Rena, or is her dad here as well? She seemed to buy my poor excuse. She smiled and said, yeah, it happens sometimes.
一人？
Who's asking?
お友達は？
一人で遊んでますよ
その年でなかなか渋いわね。
This isn't gonna be good. Rena-san stretched and looked across the huge garbage dump.
しかし、よくもこれだけ盛大にスクラップばっか捨てたもんよね。知ってる？昔、平坂の2丁目にもタイヤの外れた車ばっかり積んであるところがあってね。
Funny you should mention that. I wasn't interested in Rena-san's old story, but I pretended to listen and nodded. Wow. This is such a relatable sentence to me. Wow. If someone I wasn't comfortable with randomly walked into my space, I would go into fight or flight mode. I'd have to be pushed pretty far to go into fight or flight mode. She doesn't take this road to go back to Okinomiya. I guess she knew I'd be here and came by to see me. You told her she'd be here. You told her you would be here. What did she want? It was obvious that she was just trying to make conversation. She probably took it personally when I avoided her earlier, which must be why she was up here to butter me up. It would be better for her to not have any conflicts with the daughter of the man she's seen, no matter what the intention of seeing him is. In that sense, it was a reasonable action for her to take. While I listened to her old story, all I could think about was when she was going to leave. Again, relatable! Didn't I have to fight against her? Didn't I decide to fight against her? Didn't I find out her plot at the coffee house in Okinomiya? Didn't I find out that this woman is squeezing money out of my father when I looked inside his cash box? I know who you are. Please leave my father alone. How easy it would be for those two sentences, if those two sentences could solve the problem. She'd probably deny it. Even if I told her about what I heard at the coffee house, I have no evidence of her plot. If she said she did it because the vulgar man was threatening her, there would be nothing I could do. But I know this woman is a bad person. I know something horrible will happen in the near future if I waste time like this. A strange, tense feeling started coming over me. Rena, did you take your meds this morning? If you didn't, this is going to get bad, but I didn't know how to let it out. As the feeling started running high, I became unable to stand the smell of her perfume. Okay, well, she does use the ultra stinky feta cheese perfume. I relate, okay? I wanted to put a certain distance between me and her, so I climbed down the slope of the scrap heap. I kept going down and down the slopes of the garbage dump. When I turned around, I saw her coming down as well, muttering. Was she following me? In order to run away from her, I started running down the slope all the way to the bottom, went around behind some trash piles, and arrived at the front of my hideout. My escape was meaningless. Not only was she going to catch up with me eventually, all I did was let her know the way to my hideout that nobody is supposed to know about. I wanted to make sure she never saw my precious hideout. I was about to leave, but then she appeared.
へえ。
Okay, girl, you're being crazy.
ちょっと素敵よね。秘密基地みたい。
Look at all these rocks. It sure would be a shame if you hit your head on one of those and died. I mean, what?
私だけの秘密の隠れ家なんですよ
Uh-oh.
ここには誰も来ないし誰にも何も聞こえません
Oh, wow, Rena, with the not so subtle threat. Wow, that is oof. Yeah. Now here's the thing, Rena. If you truly have something important you need to talk to Rena about, just come out and say it. Don't drag it out with all this little small talk first. I freaking hate that. I felt strange hearing myself say that.
レイナちゃんだけの秘密の隠れ家？嬉しいわね。そんな場所に連れてきてもらえるなんて。
She must have thought I told her my secret because she was worth sharing it with. She looked happy. She found the station wagon, looked inside it through the window, and went all ooh and ah excitedly. Uh-oh. Uh-oh! Oh no, Rena's now seeing everything in photo negative. This is bad. This is a secret place that nobody else knows. I felt like my consciousness was separating from my body, like I was floating. She's even thinking in improper capitalization, but it didn't feel good. Like when I drink Amaze? What the heck is that? Is that like her drugs, or is that like a beverage? It was more like being carsick. I felt like I was going to throw up. My brain was probably secreting some chemical in order to avoid facing the reality that I'd have to stay with this woman, that I couldn't run away from her. Rena is faking this. She cannot be this stupid. Probably. She probably just doesn't care. Well, we know she doesn't actually care. She's doing all this for the money. But even if my brain tried to avoid recognizing it, the reality in front of me wouldn't change.
そうそうねえレイナちゃん
なんでしょう。
どうしたの気分悪いの
いえ、平気です。
Rena, don't push your true feelings down. For too long. I inhaled fresh air and pulled my consciousness back to reality. I didn't feel like throwing up anymore, but I still felt off balance. I leaned onto a scrap of garbage to keep my balance.
私はレイナちゃんのこと好きよ
Really?
レイナちゃんは私のこと
I really hope she's just like, no.
何ですか突然。
Rena, you can read between the lines. It's pretty clear she doesn't like you. Even if she doesn't actively hate you, if you don't know that, but, not really that interesting. I said that because I didn't want to say that I like her.
私ねずっとあなたのお父さんとお付き合いをしているんだけどいろいろと話し合ってね
Uh-oh. I needed to stop feeling like this. Get up, Rena. I'd heard something like this before. A part of me was trying to understand what this woman was trying to say, but another part of me was trying not to. I felt as if her words were bouncing around in my head, and I started having a headache. There's no way we're killing her at this part. This is still way too early.
それでねこれからのことを真剣に話し合ったのよこれからの生活やいろいろよ
What?
レイナも秋人おじさんのこと好きでしょそれでねお母さん
This ain't gonna go well. What's going on? Mother? What are you thinking about, Ren and Ryugu? This is an important moment. You're about to have a one-on-one battle with Rina-san. No, Mom. What about my dad? What about me? I don't want you to divorce him. I don't want you to get remarried to anybody else. No, please don't divorce him. I'm not going to let you do that. I'm not going to let you get remarried.
再婚なんて許さないです。
Alright, she just came out and said it. Let's go. Reina, I want to buy this cool convertible. Stop being a brat and let me steal your dad's money. That's what she would say if she was honest.
え
お父さんとどういう付き合い方をしたって構いませんが、再婚なんて許さないです。
Oh, what's this music? She must have not thought I'd say it straight out like that. She looked stunned. She looks exactly the same as she always does. After a while, she broke the silence with her laughter.
拒絶もあるかなとは思ってたけどここまではっきり言われるとは
Well, maybe this...
思わなかったもんだから
拒絶もあるかなと思っていました。私が拒絶していたのに気づいていたのは意外でした。
She's not an idiot. She works for a wannabe mob boss, so she probably has to see people in different lights like that. Ooh, this song is good. Then again, Higurashi just has a really good soundtrack.
そんな
お
のわかるでしょ
Ah! I can't believe you don't like me! What did I do? Uh-oh, she got the stink face in this art style. Wow! Jeez Louise! Wait, that's actually terrifying. Why does she look like a malevolent vampire in the OG art style? That's actually really frightening. Way scarier than this one. This one is more just Uncanny Valley. Wow.
あんた私と目を合わせるとすぐ逃げるもん
Yeah, she's not an idiot.
それで分かってないなんて
She's
思
just
って
evil.
た子供は嫌ね
Uh-oh. Okay. The song definitely... The song took a turn. It started out as kind of like a cheery dun dun, and then it's like... That's great. Oof. She looks like she's about to strangle Rena. I don't think that's a fight she's gonna win, though. She frowned, revealing her ugly self. It should have been the first time I saw her face like that, but I wasn't surprised at all. Her face had looked like that to me from the beginning. Rena glasses. See the world the way Rena looks.
できれば上辺だけでもあんたとは仲良くしてたかったんだけど、ここまで嫌われちゃ難しいわね。
You like the sprite with her tramp stamp? It's hilariously fitting. Oh, you mean with the starfish? Ugh. Bro, this sprite is terrifying. Why do they... I know she has canine teeth, but like, wow, they make her look like literal fangs.
私のどこが気に入んないの？
I don't think you want me to answer that, Rena.
高額のために教えてよ。
I like to know for future reference, so when I inevitably scam more people, I can fix that.
最初から
Yeah, that's gonna be tough.
全部
Wow.
匂い
Wait,
が
I'm...
嫌い。
Did she say simp? Did she just say simp?
最初から全部匂い
No,
も
okay.
嫌い。
Zimp, not simp. It sounded like she called her a simp, though. One vicious word came out of my mouth after another. I didn't have wings, but I felt as if I was flying up to the sky. It felt weird and uncomfortable, but also exhilarated. Okay, hang on. If we change... Oh, it's the same psalm. All right. I felt as if I was letting another me use my body. I was in the middle of a disastrous battlefield, but I felt like I wasn't even in my business.
そりゃあ好都合ね。私もあんたのこと嫌いだったから、お互い様よね。
Well, thanks for just saying it. I appreciate it.
なめんなクソガキ。ガタガタ言わされてえか。
Yeah. Well, I don't think this is a battle you're gonna win.
二度と家へ来ないでください。再婚なんて私が絶対に許さない。
I wish I could see if Rena had lizard eyes right now. But I feel like if Rena did have lizard eyes, Rena would be a little more scared than that. Because Rena's lizard eyes sprite is probably the most terrifying sprite in the game. Although I gotta admit, this is probably number 2. Like, geez Louise.
別にあんたに許してもらわなくてもいいんだけど。まああんたがうまく立ち回ってお父さんに再婚を断念させたきゃさせてごらんって。そんなの今さら意味ないし。
I'm loving the scene. This song is having a bit of an identity crisis. It can't decide if it's supposed to be a lighthearted song or an intense song. She didn't look intimidated by me at all, and that made me feel a little intimidated in return. Why was she so confident of her absolute control over my father? Because she's in league with Uncle Evil. She had to have more than confidence to be able to act as fearless as this. She must have something tangible. Before I asked her what it was, she told me herself.
私ね、プロポーズされたの。
Really? I don't think that's true. I'm pretty sure that you are gonna use that as a lie just to give yourself more money.
嘘だ。
Ooh.
嘘じゃないわよ。本当よ。
It's a lie, it's a lie, it's a lie. It's a big lie! She has to divorce because she got pregnant. She has to get married because she got pregnant. That's a lie! That's a big lie.
向こうからのお願いだから聞かないわけにもいかないしね。
That's a sentence I did not expect to read in Higurashi when they cry. First of all, you don't have to be a Christian to be against abortion. And, second of all, you are not a Christian.
指輪ももらっちゃったし。
Also, wow, you claim to be part of like the very small Christian population in Japan. Wow, that's all right. You'll just have to accept it.
それに結婚を前提のお付き合いだったわけだ。
We had sex with marriage in mind. That's not biblical. That's not how that works.
指輪まで送っておいて、今さらちゃぶ台返しなんてことになると、最近は問題が多いわよね。
I mean, fair point. If you guys actually did have sex, which I'm assuming you did, because it's hard to lie about being pregnant if you didn't have sex.
それが最初から目的のくせに私は聞いてるんだ。お前と鉄という男が二人で喫茶店で話しているところを聞いてるんだ。お父さんのお金を目当てに近づいたのを知っている。ひなみ沢の旦那と呼んで詐欺にかけようとしていることを知ってる。葛西さんに聞いたから全部知ってるんだ。
When Rena's voice sounds like this, you'd best beware.
詐欺師だってことも全部知ってるんだ。
Badgers?
あら、全部知ってるんだ。
Well, that's vaguely intimidating to have her just that much closer to us.
あらららららら。
Before I knew it, Rena was standing right in front of me. We glared at each other with our faces almost touching.
で、レイナちゃんはそこまで知っててどうしようってわけ？
お父さんに二度と近づかないでください。
嫌よって言ったら？
Rena, we're surrounded by big rocks. I don't think you need to use your imagination too much.
こんな秘密の隠れ家に誘ってくれての話だからね。
No, you followed me here.
そういうお話かなとは思ってたのよ。だってここ秘密の隠れ家なんでしょ。誰も知らなくて誰にも何も聞こえない。
そうですよ。誰も知らなくて誰にも何も聞こえ
There
ない。
might be somebody else in her car, though.
誰も訪れることのない忘れられた場所。
Our faces were so close to each other that our noses could almost touch. I knew what I was talking about, but I didn't know what would happen next. I couldn't back down now that I'd come to this point. But I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I should do.
いやだ、何をマジになってんだかね。ほらほら、仲直り。
We never were friends. Also, I love how she's like, I'm pregnant, I'm gonna have a kid. And right after, she's like, I effing hate kids. It's like, really? So she's totally lying about it. Rena started laughing and slapped me on the back. My expression didn't change, and I kept staring at Rena, but I didn't notice her real intention of putting both her arms around my neck. The tension broke, already stretched thin, and Rena squeezed my neck hard. Uh-oh. I was openly hostile, but I didn't realize Rena's evil intentions until she started choking me. Wow, alright, well... You know, here's the thing, if Rena kills her at this point, I'm not gonna have a problem with it. That will officially be justified self-defense.
子供のくせに舐めやがってよ。もうちょいでうん千万って金が転がるんだよ。上辺だけでも仲良しってことになってりゃ、小遣いの少しもやろうって思ってた
Oh
のにな。
yeah, right, you evil Karen.
ばっかり滑らしか。うんだらねえとこでまだるっこし。死にさらせやこら。
Wow, okay, she just ratcheted upwards on the evil list. I tried to pry her hands off my neck, but I didn't have the strength to do so. Hey, stop! The screen's turning red.
殺しはしたかなかったんだけどね。二度とこんなうまいかもにゃ会えないだろうしさ。
Okay, I'm willing to bet there's not somebody else in her car.
てめえ閉めて、うん千万なら悪くはないさね。どうせ巻き上げたら蒸発するつもりだったしさ。上等くれたら、この野郎！
The world around me got darker and darker. I had never known an evil intention like this, namely the intention to kill me. It didn't scare me, though. That's because being scared is a feeling that people use to express how they feel when they see wildfire on the other side of a river. People on the island with the wildfire with their deaths right in front of them. They don't get scared. If I loosened my grip on her hands even a little bit, she'd crush my throat. This was a simple competition to see who was stronger. Rena wanted to get into the most advantageous positions, so she tried to push me down to the ground so that she could mount me. If I let her do that, I wouldn't stand a chance. I tried to keep my current position, but I was losing a lot of energy by being choked. It was only a matter of time before Rena could push me down. I lost my balance on purpose. I tried to fall backwards in order to put her off balance. I couldn't hold my breath long enough to keep up that strength competition, so I had no choice but to take that chance. We fell on the ground, tangled together. But as Rena was strongly determined to kill me, she didn't even take her hands away from my neck after she fell. 15-year-old versus 45-year-old with multiple facelifts. I still think Rena's gonna win. Well, she has to. This is a flashback. However, my action made Rena loosen her grip on my throat. It wasn't loose enough for me to break free from her grip, but it gave me a few moments to use my hands for something other than stopping her from crushing my throat. If I hadn't taken the chance, I would have been done for. That's why I tried to literally seize my chance. I moved both my hands to the ground to seize that chance. I felt a piece of broken glass on my right hand. That was truly my chance to literally save myself from the brink of death. I cut Rena's wrist deep with the piece of glass. You know, I probably would have gone for a different body part than the wrist, but good for you, Rena. You have more restraint than I probably would have. Rena tried to endure the pain for a few seconds, but pain that severe from something so cornered soon broke her will. She let go of my throat to cling to her bloody wrist. I used that moment to roll away from her. Oh no, I can't believe that you got hurt by the person you tried to kill. She screamed, both in pain and also to try and intimidate me again. It didn't work anymore, though. Intimidation only works on the opponent when the opponent is hesitant to fight. When you're already in a fight, screaming like that means nothing more than letting the opponent know how badly you're hurt. I no longer had any hesitation. I had learned from Rena. She taught me what I have to do in a situation like this. That's right. This is my secret hideout. I know every single piece of junk in here. Maybe I knew that a day like this was coming. Was it just a coincidence that it was there? I had pulled out a meter-long lead pipe, not at all surprised to see it there. I raised it up high and brought it back down. There was no way Rena could block this hard and heavy a lead pipe with just her arms. She'd probably try to block it with the palms of her hands in order to take it away from me. But her long nails wouldn't let that happen. Unable to catch it the way she wanted, she broke her fingers, and some of her nails came off too. Ooh, I thought we had enough of nails coming off in the last chapter. This is officially the second worst manicure in the Higurashi series. Woof! Hey, Mobius, how's it going? Did it black out, or does the game not show anything here? The game just doesn't show anything here. It's too graphic. Her scream made me realize that I had the advantage. An advantage I would have to keep. If I didn't, she'd turn the tables just like I did, and then she'd choke me to death for sure. Mobius, you're just in time to see a 15-year-old girl beat her dad's 45-year-old girlfriend to death. You came at a great part. Rena shielded her head with her arms, but it didn't help. All that would change is that I'd break her arms before I broke her face. The face is the moneymaker! No, please! I'm serious, too. Die. Die. Die! You should die. Yeah, that's right. I should have done this a long time ago. I didn't need proof. I didn't have to talk to anybody. That's stupid. That's nonsense. Okay, Rena, you're losing it. I should have done this a long time ago! If I had done it a long time ago, my father wouldn't have been deceived. I could have protected him. I could have protected my family. Rena, you cannot just beat random girls your dad wants to date to death with no proof. If you have proof, you can do it. I could have protected my life. I could have been myself. My mother wouldn't have divorced my father. Oh, yeah, if you had only beaten her new lover with a lead pipe when you were like 10, this all would never have happened. I could have stayed happy. I wouldn't have had to be unhappy. I'm going to recapture my happiness. At this moment, I'm going to win back my happiness. Okay, Rena, if you keep hitting her with the lead pipe, it's going to be a lot harder to prove the justified self-defense plea, okay? I'm not going to try to cry for misfortune. Rena, this is like the 10th time, okay? If it was a one and done, you could have gone for the justified self-defense plea. But now at this point, it's clear you're just enjoying it, and that's not going to look good in court. I'm not going to give in to a fate of unhappiness. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to seize my happiness right now with my own 2 hands. Killing doesn't make things better. True, this was probably the most justified murder in the series up to this point, though. I'd say right up there with Keiichi killing Teppei. Although this is more so because she was literally being killed herself. Rena tried to run away from me. She's still alive after 20 hits to the face with a lead pipe? But she no longer had the use of her hands, so it made it difficult for her to stand up to escape, especially since there were scraps of junk everywhere on the ground. After all, this is my hideout. This is my territory. Nobody can run away from me here. You don't know if Rena realizes this, but if her father finds out about this, or she breaks completely, she could be sent to a mental hospital and never see her dad again. True, but in her deluded state, she might be like, this is still better. My dad will be happy now. Even if her dad's gonna be miserable. Because good luck convincing your dad that she was deceiving you. Also, at this point, you're gonna have to find a change of clothes. Also, you're gonna have to find something to do with her car. Because her car is literally at the scene of the murder. If you want to, like, wash your hands of this, be like, I don't know where she went. She disappeared. Her car is literally at the junkyard where you told your dad you were going to be. Yeah. She tried to climb up the slope of garbage, slipped, fell, and rolled all the way back down. Onto the rocks. She didn't stand up or move. Her eyes were open, and her neck was bent at an unnatural angle. I'm sure she could walk it off. I didn't know how to make sure she was dead, so I kept looking at her opened eyes for a while. She could be faking it for all I know. You could check her pulse. But she didn't close her eyes no matter how long I waited. I scooped up a handful of sand and threw it on her face. She still didn't close her eyes. Okay, that's probably dead. Thud. The lead pipe slipped out of my hand and hit the ground. When I tried to pick it up, I realized how heavy it was, and I was surprised I was wielding it as though it was a knife. I was sweating all over. The cold wind felt good on my skin. The cries of the Higurashi were calming me down and healing my soul. Rena was just like a broken dummy now. She had become a piece of junk. I am the owner of this land of junk, and I've defeated it from her intrusion. Now she was a resident of this junkyard. I didn't feel bad about killing her. In fact, I felt rather fulfilled that it defeated the evil woman who had deceived my father. Okay, well, yeah, again, this attitude's not going to serve you well when you get court-martialed, Rena. All right? I started breathing slowly and calmly, and I regained enough energy to analyze the situation. I'm shocked that we killed her at this part. We've only gone through 4 parts of the story. I thought this was going to happen at, like, maybe the halfway point. And there's no way we're at the halfway point yet. I started breathing slowly and calmly, and I regained enough energy to analyze the situation. I have to hide her body. Again, that's not going to help with the justified self-defense plea. She ain't going for that, though. First, I had to get rid of her scooter. Oh, she only had a scooter. That'll be easier to dispose of. I climbed up the slope and kicked the scooter down the hill. It rolled down the slope, making a lot of noise, and blended in with all the junk as it stopped, like it was there from the beginning. I went back down the slope and started dragging her body to my hideout. It should have taken as much effort as dragging a 50-kilogram sandbag, but it felt lighter than that. She lost a lot of blood and guts and brain matter, probably. It was just a sandbag, yet it brought disaster to my family. Michan, can you do something for me? Cute Mion breaking down in tears because she had to clean up another crime scene. Yeah, Mion has a rough time in every chapter. Actually, yeah, no, Mion literally has a rough time in every chapter. In chapter 1, she gets killed by Keiji, although that was... Actually, no, that was... I just realized that was the most justified murder. I can't believe it. Keiji killing the 2 of them in chapter 1 was the most justified murder because they were literally about to inject him with, like, drugs to make him claw his throat out. So that's actually the most justified murder. Well, maybe. Actually, it's, like, around on par with this, I'd say. Yeah, she gets killed by Keiichi in chapter 1. She kind of deserved it there, though. Chapter 2, unless that was Shion, in which case she just had all of her friends die. Chapter 2, she died. / chapter 5, she died. Chapter 3, she died apparently at the end. Chapter 4, she died apparently at the end. And now, okay. Will Mion die in this chapter? Will we break the curse? I didn't lure her here in order to kill her. Or did I? Maybe I just didn't notice that I had that intention deep down in my heart. But even so, I felt like this was the best and most expedient solution. The best solution! There was no better solution than killing her. See, again, this thought process. If it was just a case of like, oh crap, I can't believe I had to kill her because she tried to kill me, I'd be 100% on your side. But, still more justifiable than a lot of murders. How wasteful to depend on someone to help me. To wait for the day to help when they will. That's not the sentence. Let me try that again. How wasteful to depend on someone to help me. To wait for the day to come when they will. I remember the murder of Satoshi-kun's aunt that happened last year. I had no doubt that Satoshi-kun murdered her. I love how everyone's just like, oh yeah, he definitely did it. Like, there's no way he didn't do it. But I've never been as convinced as I am right at this moment. After all, how could he have saved Satoko-chan other than by killing his aunt last year at that time, in that circumstance? My situation was much the same as his. How could I have saved my father other than by killing her? If I was planning a murder, I would have been under a lot of pressure and stress. But, for better or for worse, the moment came out to me out of nowhere. That's why I believe I solved my problem with as little trouble as possible. This would have been a lot more awkward if she had stayed at the house and they had sprung this on her and then she killed her with a lead pipe in the house. That would be a little harder to explain to her dad. Also, watch, like, the next day, Kasai's just like, oh yeah, I'll totally help you. And she's like, oh, crap! Why did I kill him? What did he could have done it? Now that she's gone, will anybody become suspicious about her disappearance? Well, she has a job, and a pimp, and a boyfriend. So, yeah, probably. She was an irresponsible person who skipped work at her own convenience. So I didn't think anyone would get suspicious if she'd disappear one day. She was a big mess from the start. People will think she went into hiding because she got into deep trouble with someone. I didn't need to fabricate an alibi. All I needed to do was get rid of her body. It took me a while to figure out how to do that last part. Hiding her body would be very risky. But my brain had become so calm that it did some calculations and came up with an answer right away. Yes, this place is still the safest. This is a place forgotten. Nobody comes here. Nobody knows this place is here. I knew that because I'd been spending a lot of time here. Compared to taking the risk of carrying her bodies to some other place, it was a lot safer to just hide it here. But it wasn't perfect yet. The place wouldn't remain a secret forever. Eventually the smell's gonna get out. I could hide it here for now, but I'd have to come up with a perfect way to make it completely disappear. It's a lot easier to think about than thinking about how to make Rina break up with my father. I stuffed her corpse into a broken refrigerator in a trash pile. That's a pretty good spot to hide, temporarily. I wanted to cover the refrigerator with dirt and bury it, but that was too easy. I had to chop the corpse into pieces and make them disappear completely. I felt like it got dark all of a sudden. No, it didn't get dark all of a sudden. I just didn't realize it was getting dark until just then. I could hear thunder from a distance. It might rain soon. Why does it always rain after people commit murder? Except in Chapter 1. I could use some rain. It'd wash Rena's dirty blood into the ground. I should go home. I should think about what I'd do tomorrow. You're taking this remarkably well. I was going to stay right beside my father until he forgets about her. Rena, please tell me there's like a mirror somewhere here so you can see if you're covered in Rena's blood. It's going to be hard to explain to your father when you get home. I was going to stay right beside my father until he forgets about her. He might be hurt at first, but we're going to recapture our happiness for sure. Our happy, peaceful life. Nothing bad will happen. My body was heavy with exhaustion, but I also felt fulfilled because I took a very important first step today. I'll keep taking one step after another. I'm not going to cry anymore. I'm not going to cry until I win back my happiness. I'm not going to cry again. Rena's just like, yeah, I committed murder. It's no big deal. You know, just a typical Tuesday. No tips?
再婚なんかする必要ないよ。
That was the first thing I said after I got home. My father looked stunned. Rena, why in the world are you covered in blood? He noticed the sad tone in my voice, and realizing that I didn't agree with the idea of his remarriage, he looked down. Uh-oh.
無理もないよな。
How was she not covered in blood when she got home, unless she had a change of clothes at their hideout?
レイナの気持ちもわかるよ。事前にレイナにもよく相談。
プロポーズなんて取り消せばいい。あんな女。
Okay, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. If she wasn't lying about the pregnancy, Rena did just commit double homicide. That makes it a lot harder.
あんな女なんて言い方しちゃダメだ。リナさんは。
本当のことを話す。あの女と鉄という男は二人組の悪人。我が家の財産を狙ってお父さんに近づいてきただけ。
How is he gonna take this? My father didn't get it right away, of course. He looked upset instead because I called her that woman. I should have chosen my words a little more carefully, but I think I told him the truth clearly enough. I told him everything I heard and saw at the coffee house. As I expected, he defended Rena anyway. I was upset, but at the same time, it made me certain that there was no other way than to kill her. I felt the pressure on my shoulders lessen for some reason. My father thought he needed my approval for his remarriage, so he held back his anger and put a fake smile on his face instead.
なあ、レイナ。もう一度ゆっくりとお父さんたちと話し合おう。そうすればきっと分かってくれるから。
I want Rena's dad to have a sprite. He deserves to have his own sprite. A tamed animal is still tamed, even after the owner is dead. That's okay. I'll open the gate anyway. Even a tamed animal will notice one day that he's no longer in captivity. That's not something that I could teach him. He had to realize it on his own. I couldn't stand his fake smile anymore, so I left the living room. Time healed the pain from the divorce. Time heals any kind of pain. Just like how dripping water will eventually bore a hole through solid rock. I did what I could do. Now I'd have to wait. But the day I was going to wait for came earlier than expected. At midnight of the following day, we had a visitor. It was that Techan man. Teppei Hojo. Teppei didn't even knock on the door to get in. He broke into the house by smashing the window. Wow. He's just making a statement now. He's like, man, screw doors. Psh, I'm coming for the window. He like struggles to get through the window because he's kind of fat. He's going, it's like, oh, you could have just knocked on the door. No, I'll get it. He has to lift his leg over through the window. Cuts himself on the glass as he comes in. Just stumbles on the ground, has to like brush himself off, stand up. It's like, you're just making a scene now, bro. Okay, which is best? Console, remake, original. Property damage, call the police. I mean, yeah, seeing this guy, the proper reaction is to call the police. Teppei didn't even knock on the door to get in. Yeah, he smashed the window. At first, I thought he came here to ask us about Rena's whereabouts, but I was wrong. The real reason why Teppei came here was because it was their plan. It was the last stage of their Badger game. Oh, he's gonna threaten him. Rena was probably supposed to be in bed with my father at that time tonight. Teppei must have wanted to show up and catch them sleeping together. Remake is the best. Alright. Teppei looked around the house, but he couldn't find Reina. He's I am so imagine she breaks free, so he's prepared to like catch them in the act. That she's just not there. He's just like sorry about the broken window, man. I thought this was my house. Runs off. He didn't change the plan though. He grabbed my father by his collar and started yelling threats. He showed my father a certificate of marriage to Rena and then shouted at him saying, "You got my wife pregnant! How are you gonna take responsibility?" My father had no idea she was married. He looked shocked. Oh man, well I mean this is gonna make it a lot easier for us to convince him that she was no good. My father's a short guy who was faint of heart. He just let Teppei do and say whatever he wanted from beginning to end. I looked at them direct from a distance coldly. The more Teppei yelled and threatened my father, the faster he'd wake up from his bad dream. This was a medicine for him. Teppei was cutting out the cancer that I was going to depend on time to do, and he was doing a great job of it. He's also strangling your dad. I waited to help my father until I was sure he had finally awakened from his bad dream. I told Teppei that I had something very important to tell him and took him outside.
で、なんじゃい？重要な話っちゅうんは。
Well, first of all, you definitely gotta pay to replace that window. That was high quality glass you broke through.
リナさんって昨日以来沖宮に帰ってますか？
ん？
実はリナさん事情があって隠れてるんです。
Oh, wait! Oh, hang on! Is Rena gonna do, like, the ultimate scheme of, like, I'm pretty sure she took all the money and then just left you in the dust because they were gonna share the money?
Huh?
Wait, this is actually maybe a genius ploy by Rena.
どういうこっちゃ？
Is Five-Head Rena? Most...
リナさんから鉄平さんが来たら連れてきてほしいと言われてるんです。
あ？律子のやつどうしたんね？
Teppei followed me without hesitation. We walked in the dark with a flashlight to the place where nobody comes. Oh, and nobody can hear us. The place forgotten. Oh, no, she's just gonna kill... I mean, okay, you're really not gonna get off on the justifiable self-defense charge now, Rena. She's really just gonna do a second murder out of nowhere? No, Rena, you could have just, like, turned him against Rena and been like, no, she left with all the money. No, Rena, I thought you were about to pull a genius 5-head level play here. He asked me many things on the way, but I couldn't answer any of them. I just told him to go ask Rena. The way I said it seemed to make him think that Rena was going to betray him and get married to my father for real. Even though he was breathing heavily in a rage, he walked right behind me without any suspicions. I knew this day was going to come very soon, so I was well prepared for it. We reached to the place I originally planned to bring him, and I turned off the flashlight all of a sudden.
どうしたんね？
Everyone gets nervous when the only light in the dark goes off. But this is my territory. I didn't need any light. I could feel my surroundings even better with my eyes closed. Why is she so badass? I grabbed the big hatchet I'd hidden in a bush and lifted it up high. Oh my god,
ごめんな
jeez!
さい。電池の接触不良かな。
This girl is actually psychotic.
ちょっと待ってくださいね。
The fact, listen, look at this. She just immediately just like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, no change in her voice or expression.
ああ、はよせんとね。
I purposefully sounded weak and helpless while I raised the hatchet into the air.
ああ、ライターあるわ。出すんね。
Teppei found a lighter in his pocket and lit it up. Of course he has a lighter, because of all the cigarettes and marijuana he smokes. He probably couldn't understand the sight illuminated by that small light. He saw a girl lifting a big hatchet right in front of him.
Huh?
Teppei's eyes went wide. He didn't understand what was going on, but he understood that his life was in danger. And yet he must not have been able to think fast enough to deal with it, even though he understood what he should do. Even if he could think fast enough and blocked his head with his arms, it wouldn't have meant anything. I knew Teppei would come to my house eventually. That's why I prepared for that day. I just didn't think that preparation was going to bear fruit tonight. I chose my weapon very carefully. I planned when, where, and how I was going to attack him. This is just premeditated murder, Rena. You're not getting off on this charge. And so, there can only be one result. Splat! The hatchet cut deeply into his forehead. I felt an indescribable vibration through the hatchet when it hit him, and this told me that I broke his skull. How strong is this 15-year-old girl? He bragged about how good he was at fighting at the coffee house, but he sure went down quickly when faced with a murderous weapon. Yeah. He was done in by a single blow. Dang, Keiichi, you suck! You had to hit him like 18 times with the baseball bat in Chapter 3. Rena got him in one hit. Granted, she had a much more deadly weapon, but... Teppei slowly fell to his side with the hatchet in his forehead. He looked like a victim in a B movie. Rena is just cold! She's just like, man, this guy sucks. He looks like a B movie villain. I killed this big guy with just one hatchet. He was probably quite experienced in the world of violence, but I was better than him when it came to killing. Don't brag about that. Why? Because I've killed someone before. It's all done now. The bad people who deceived my father and tried to rob him blind are all gone. Okay, well this definitely means that my prediction that her killing Rina was going to send Teppei back to live with Satoko and get her abused again is out the window. Well, shoot, it looks like Rena's just gonna get away with double homicide. Oh wait, no, of course not. Something's gonna happen. She's gotten a taste for blood. Now Oyashiro-sama demands more. I did what I had to do in order to protect my life. No, that second one was not justifiable homicide. If I had this much courage and determination when my mom told me about the divorce, I might have killed Akihito. You were also 10. If I did, I would have taken the life of only one. Because I couldn't do it back then, I've had to kill 2 people in the last 2 days. How are you going to explain this one to your dad? Your dad knows you took him outside and then he was never seen again. He can put 2 and 2 together. At least with Rina, he didn't know that you were like alone with her. He just knows that she left. Rena. Let's finish it up. There's already a place to hide his body. I took care of everything. My hands were wet, so I shone the flashlight at them. I thought it was blood, but it was just sweat. Even so, I still felt uncomfortable, and shone the flashlight at my hands several times. I did all this in order to be happy. I did all of this, so I should be happy now. I tried so hard that I got blood on my hands. I wanted to get credit for that from him. Oyashiro-sama, let me ask you a question. I can finally rewind the time back to the day everything started to go wrong, can't I? I'm going to stay in Hinamizawa. I'm going to live happily with my father forever. I do love that shot of the village. You were out the whole night? Keiichi needed like a week to plan Teppei's murder and didn't do it right. And Rena just off the cuff in like one day came up with a perfect double murder plan. Keiichi, you suck! When Rena's the protagonist, things happen way more quickly. It's rare to see Rena sleep in class. She isn't the kind of girl who sleeps in class because she's staying up so late. Well, now we're Keiichi again. She had to be tired from doing housework or something. Everybody seemed to be thinking the same thing. Nobody tried to wake her up, not even Shia-sensei. She got up for a few seconds and went back to sleep. She will not live happily ever after. Of course not! You can't get away with murder that easily. Come on! That's how Oyashiro-sama was like, Rena, I already had the guys planned out this year. Imagine if Tomotage just doesn't die now. That's not true. Takano's still gonna kill him. She's terrible. She swayed back and forth like she was rowing a boat. But she's in class, so I should wake her up, right? I was about to wake her up, but before my hand touched her, Mion gave me a sign not to.
寝かせてあげなよ。たまにはそういう日もあるよ。
Rena, are you okay? Sorry, last night was murder.
それもそうだな。
I heard a few days ago that Rena lives with her father. She studies during the day, plays a lot after school, and does things around the house after that. I didn't know that. I also didn't know that her mother had divorced her father. Mion told me that, and she also told me not to talk about it because Rena is still hurt by the divorce.
そんな苦労をしてるなんて全然気づきもしなかったぜ。
I just heard her constantly talking about how she wants to be happy and just thought that she was just a happy person.
レナはそういうのを表に出さないタイプだよね。
Exactly! Push the pain down.
ひょっとすると、普段陽気に振る舞っているのも、
My problems
そ
are
うい
my
う風に
problems.
意
I'm
識
not
し
gonna
て
make
振
them
る舞
other
っている
people's
からかも
problems.
ね。
Rena told me that happy days will one day come to an end. She told me that she knew that firsthand. What could she have been through? I had no idea. That's probably why she tried to spend so much time as peacefully and cheerfully as she could. I must have hurt her feelings when I said I was bored of having happy days. When I thought about it, I felt bad for living off my parents, who are both healthy and happy. Yeah, you're the only one who has a normal, well-adjusted family in this, Keiichi. For that matter, Satoko and Rika-chan lost their parents, too. Mion lives with her grandmother, away from her parents, because she needs to learn to be the head of the Sonozaki family in the future. Also, her parents are both Yakuza. When I realized all that, I felt bad about my situation.
別にケイちゃんが両親と生活してることを申し訳なく思うことはないよ。
Mion seemed to have read my mind. She said it with a cool expression on her face.
確かに家族ってのは生まれてきた子供である私たちにとって一番でもね、コミュニティは家族だけじゃないんだよ。
仲間か。
Friends? I've never heard of those before.
分かってるじゃん。
俺たちはレナにとって 家族に負けないくらいの存在なんだろうか。
I love the little detail that their voice actors are whispering here because she's asleep right now.
掃除洗濯炊事に買い物
Yeah, her dad presumably has a job. If he doesn't have a job, he needs to get off his lazy butt.
それに疲れて昼寝だけして過ごすことだってレナにはできるんだよ。でもレナはそれをしない。放課後の時間いっぱいを私たちと部活をして過ごす。それはつまりなんて言えばいいのかな。そう仲間ってことなんだよ。
No, I don't. Your family is your family, and your friends are your friends. I know that sometimes if you have a really bad family situation, you view your friends as your family. Fair enough. That doesn't mean they're quite the same thing, though.
レナにとっては家族と同じくらいの意味のある仲間ってことなのか？
I don't think so. I don't think that Rena would go to the same lengths for Mion that she did for her dad.
え
Yeah, even Mion's not sure about that one. She's like, well, I don't know. Mion looked stunned, as if she didn't understand what I was talking about.
ああケイちゃんが今日まで仲間って言葉をどういう意味で使ってきたか知らないけどさ、仲間ってのは家族と全く同格じゃないのかな。
難しく考えることではないのですよ。
Hey, girl. Rika-chan joined our conversation.
居場所があればいいのです。それがある場所を家族と言ったり仲間と言ったり呼び方が少し変わるだけのことなのですよ。
リカちゃんにとって家族と仲間は同じものか？
My family is dead, Keiichi. That wasn't very nice to say.
僕はそうだと思っていますです。サトコもミーもそしてレナもそうだと思いますですよ。
だから私たちはいつも一緒にいようとするんじゃないかな。
リカちゃんはみんなといると寂しくないか？
みんなは家族なのです。寂しくなんかないのですよ。
You also live with Satoko, your best friend, so that makes it easier. Mio nodded in agreement. Satoko was talking with her other classmates, but I'm sure she would nod as well. Rena would too.
俺ちょっと恥ずかしいよ。
ん？
今日まで俺仲間って言葉を使ってきたけどさ、
Friends.
本当の意味で理解してなかったと思う。仲間ってのはもっともっと大切でかけがえのないすげえもんなんだよな。
Bruh, we were just playing like Murder Simulator, and now we're playing Kingdom Hearts all of a sudden. My friends are my power.
それすっごく当たり前のことだからさ。
Thanks, Mion.
もし今日まで分かってなかったならよく胸に刻んだ方がいいよ。
そうだな、そうするぜ。
あとそれを二度と口にしない方がいいかもだね。今ケイちゃんかなり恥ずかしいこと言ってたと思うよ。
What did he say that was embarrassing? After all that, Mion still made fun of me. I think I understand a little better why Rena was always so serious about having fun. I want to be her best friend, and I want to do my best to be deserving of her effort. Man, murder is such hard work. Rena, you were talking in your sleep. You committed double murder? Rena snored. It sounded cute. Shia-sensei let her sleep in class, but she couldn't let her get away with snoring.
委員長
Uh-oh.
竜宮さんを起こしてください。
Rena, you have upset best girl. How dare you?
レーナほらほら。
Rena was still half asleep and made a strange noise. Everybody in the class laughed. I also love how Rena's very nonchalant after she committed double murder, and when Keiichi, after he committed murder, he's just like, like freaking the F out. Man, she's way better at this than he is. In Keiichi's defense, if you grow up without friends and suddenly have some, it can be easy to feel distant to them. That's true. Or even me, who just generally keeps people at a distance. I love that little animation there. That was great. Rena noticed they were laughing at her, woke up right away and acted like she wasn't sleeping at all. It looked really funny, and I burst into a fit of laughter. Outside the window, the sky was blue, the clouds were pure white. It was still June, but it looked like it was the middle of summer. This perfect weather wouldn't last forever. It could get cloudy and rainy all of a sudden. That's why we had to play and raise a ruckus while we still had this perfect weather. The cries of the cicadas sound as if they're laughing at us because we still have some classes left. Damn it! I can't wait for school to finish.
どうしたんだろう。 ケイチくんすっごく嬉しそうだね。今日は何かあるの？
別に今日は今日だし、明日は明日だろ。今日が晴れてるならそれで十分。明日の天気なんか知ったこっちゃないってことさ。だから今日という日を俺は精一杯遊び倒したい。
Meanwhile, at the garbage dump, Uisu's like, oh man, I can't believe I just found this old refrigerator lying around. I've been needing a new refrigerator. Dead body in here. Well, hey, Rena's sheets are over here. Time to make it a rest.
いつ天気が崩れたって後悔しないくらいに徹底的にな。
I learned that from Rena. I learned that peaceful days are the happiest days that you can have, and that they're irreplaceable.
ミオ、今日の部活はなんだ？
Oh, yeah. No music box anymore. Let's go here.
それに最近罰ゲームがちょいと刺激不足だぜ。
I miss this music.
言うねケイちゃん。そこまで言うなら今日の放課後には生き地獄ってやつを拝ま
Okay,
してあげる
Mion,
よ。
let's tone down the weirdness.
ケイチくん、あんまりみーちゃんを挑発しちゃダメだよ。
おいおい、臆すのかよレナ。上等じゃないかよ。また俺たちの実力で大暴れしてやろうぜ。
That's true. You guys made a great team.
俺とレナの決着だってまだまだついちゃいないんだから
I
な。
thought that's the whole reason we had the cringe Hooters scene, and you're telling me that literally meant nothing? The only purpose of going to Hooters was just to show that Rena exists? We could have done that in any other way. I grinned at her and she grinned back.
それもそうだね。よーし、レナも思いっきり頑張るぞ。
Yoshi!
レナさんには先日の借りがございますものね。
Hey, Satoko, it's been a little bit.
きっちり倍返しさせていただきましてですわよ。
いいねいいね。盛り上がってきたよ。
早く放課後になるといいのです。
I couldn't wait either, but the time we spend just talking together is also very precious.
そうだな。早く放課後になるといいな。
Are we just gonna skip the club? Actually, no, that could be okay. Mion was being a little weird. Now we get the new tips. My favorite wine? How is this relevant? Collateral. Find an easy solution to a big problem with a bloody pipe. No, a bloody hatchet as the achievement title. Wow, that's great. They're just like murder. Such an easy solution. All right, let's go with my favorite wine. Is this gonna be Tepe? Like, oh man, you know, my favorite wine is the Dom Perignon wine. Then he breaks through the window. Hey, Fumoa13, welcome. How much longer will I be streaming? Oh, a fair bit longer. Probably at least for an extra hour. I'll probably go to the next tip section. You got a little interview soon in 5 minutes. Make sure you do the interview well. Yeah, I should still be here when you're done. Satoko went to join the children playing in the schoolyard. Since I didn't feel like going, I decided to stay at home. Most likely she wouldn't be back until the evening. When Satoko wasn't around, I had ways of spending time without her. So this is Rika again? Besides, that was what I wanted to do anyway. Talking about Satoko going gone. So this is Rika's point of view? I stuck my hand deep inside the pile of Witcher futons in the closet and pulled one out. Next, I filled a stylish-looking glass of ice. The ice made in the freezer smelled of chlorine, though, and didn't taste good. Store-bought ice would be the best, but since Satoko kept asking me what I was using it for, I stopped buying it. But it might be worth spending time to think about a good excuse for that if it meant I would be able to enjoy ice without ever smelling the chlorine. What is happening? I filled the glass of mineral water and then poured a little bit of another liquid into the glass. Watching the color mix into the transparent water was a very pleasant thing. It wasn't the right way to drink it, but I liked it that way and didn't want to hear any complaints. My body is very convenient because I can get drunk with only a tiny amount. What is going on? Rika, why are you drinking wine to get drunk? That's why I dilute that small amount of a full glass of water. And thanks to that, I could enjoy a single bottle for a long time. It wasn't bad if you thought about it like that. No! No, that's pretty bad! What the butts? Why is this so much more disturbing to me than Rena committing double homicide? I put a cushion on my favorite spot by the window, and with the glass in one hand, I enjoyed the familiar view and the soft wind brushing through my hair. Her inner monologue is nothing like what she actually says to other people. What the heck? A slightly sweet, ripened aroma tickled my nose, and just when I was about to start enjoying the atmosphere, the annoying one came back. She didn't like this bad habit of mine, and she complained every time I tilted the glass. Who's this? She started nagging me noisily.
うるさいな。少しくらい我慢なさい。何を飲もうと食おうと、私の勝手でしょ。
What the butts?
ダメなのです。その飲み物はあなたにはまだ早いのです。
Who the heck is this? I tried to ignore her, but she started making a fuss as if trying to ruin the atmosphere on purpose. There was no way I could enjoy getting drunk like this. I glared at her and threw the drink out the window.
なんで私が憂鬱か知りたい？
Yes! I would!
私の死に方が決まったからよ。
Well, I mean, I guess if you have the knowledge that you're going to be killed in a gruesome way, yeah, it would be hard to enjoy life. Getting drunk is not the answer, though. Okay, it seemed like she finally understood why I wanted to drown myself in alcohol.
そんなに落ち込まなくてもいいのよ。割と一瞬で死ねるから、そんなに怖くないわ。
What? Hang on, don't you get, like, disemboweled? That's not dying instantly. My body will be burned and cut into pieces, but I'll be able to die instantly.
でも、またダメなのです。
Who is this?
そうね。またダメね。
Is there somebody else living in their house? That can't be. What is going on? Jeez, I didn't think we were getting to the mind screw part of the episode yet. I thought they were gonna wait for the finale for that.
これだと、私の命日はいつだっけ？
6月の25日の夜だと思いましたです。
綿流しの祭りが終わってからだいたい1週間後か。まあ妥当なあたりね。
やっぱり僕のせいなのでしょうか。
決まってるでしょ。あんた自覚ないの？
はうはう。
She was the one who asked me, yet she cried when I told her she was right. Ah, jeez, she's always so annoying.
頑張りましょう。次のすごろくではきっと6が立て続けに出てくれることもあるわよ。
June 25th. I still had 10 more days. I was going to relax and enjoy those 10 days. I still had some wine left, too. Well, that's, they just dropped that scene on us all casual, like, you don't even have to watch that, that's optional. What the heck? Okay. Rika is still the most interesting character. That's for sure. Wow. It's times like these where I kind of wish I used a face cam, so you could just have seen my expression during all of that. Just wide-eyed the entire time. That is, ooh, well, I'm very confused. Who the heck was that random person? There's someone who was in her house with her. Satoko wasn't there. Is she like... Is she someone that, like, Rika is hiding on her property? Because Rika has a really large property with, like, a lot of different buildings. And she and Satoko only stay in, like, the small little, like, guest house? And, like, the rest of it's kind of unused. Is there, like, somebody else who's living in there and, like, Rika knows about this, but she's keeping it a secret from everyone? But if that's the case, like, at some point we would have seen her, right? Like, especially during Chapter 2 when we had the massive search across all the grounds for her. Like, we definitely would have seen her. But the new girl also definitely didn't get tortured by Shion. Huh. By the way, welcome to the stream, Wayne Pick. Furade is an alcoholic. Apparently. I mean, at least she's watering it down a bit, but, like, geez. I guess having clairvoyant knowledge makes you drunk. Ugh, okay. Yeah, so Rika's apparently deeply cynical in her inner monologue, which I guess makes sense. She doesn't let that on to any of her friends, though. I mean, that would be kind of hard to explain. I kind of still want to know how you're able to know everything, though, and why you sound like a much older woman at times. Okay. I'm thoroughly confused, and I feel like we will not be getting answers to that anytime soon. Yeah, the voice also sounded like a young girl, not like an adult. So how does that... Oh. You know, we should just keep going. I'll think about that on my own time. Well, we're back to Rena. It had been very hot for the past few days, and the corpses went rotten quickly. Any housewife knows how fast fresh meat can go bad. I know it too. That's why the first thing I did was to dismember the corpses. There was only one reason why I needed to dismember them. I had to reduce them to a portable size in order to carry them to a place where they'll never be found. When men see the words dismembered corpses, they'll probably feel disgusted because they don't cook. But housewives are used to taking the guts out of a fish, and they sometimes even see living maggots. What? What kind of fish are you buying? They take the maggots off of the food and even cook it with the maggots still on. What? Rena? Are you okay? The heat will kill them after all. It's still gross. Women don't tell men what they do in the kitchen because men wouldn't eat the food if they knew. That's a problem. So it didn't really bother me much to dismember them. That is not the same thing at all! Dismembering human corpses is not the same as butchering meat. I was released from all my problems by killing them. Cleaning up the mess was like nothing to me, because I got freedom and regained my happiness. Yeah, look how detached she is. Keiichi was being driven crazy from the guilt, and she's just like, yeah, it happened. Well, that's why I'm saying, like, she's kind of an actual psychopath. Or maybe sociopath. I dismembered the corpses using carpenter's tools like a saw and a hatchet. She did get the Home Depot saw on the way home. I knew it! I'm wearing a black sweatsuit I bought for today because I thought it might get stained with blood. Blood stains don't show on black fabric, and I can just throw it away after it's done. Oh man, I want to see Rena in her new drip, though. I brought a plastic sheet I found in the dump because I thought the blood might spread otherwise. If I did work on this sheet, I would just burn it after I was done. In the end, dismembering human bodies is no different from preparing food on a chopping board. That's how you're, thinking about it. All right. Let's hope nobody walks by here. Tomatake's like, man, this is the perfect day to go to the dump and take some interesting photography. And oh my gosh! I was very tired from chopping apart 2 adult bodies, but I didn't have a problem doing it. Insert Home Depot theme. They really should have had the Home Depot theme playing here. Oh wow, we get 2 different cicada sounds depending on what background music we play. I cut off their arms, legs, and heads, dividing each body into 6 pieces. I heard that the blades get easily ruined by fat when you cut across a corpse, so I brought many kinds of tools. And I was right. I didn't have to go back and forth between here and my house to get another tool in the middle of work. A long time ago, the construction manager was murdered and his body was dismembered here during the dam conflict. He was cut into 6 pieces in the same way. Well, I had 2 bodies, so there was double that, though. I remembered the main suspect was still on the loose, and the victim's arm he hid hadn't been found yet. I wonder where he hid it. I'd like to ask him. I smiled wryly. We still don't know who did kill the foreman, do we? Unlike the arms, legs, and heads, the torsos were difficult to take care of. I thought about cutting them into smaller pieces, but I decided against it, because I thought it'd be troublesome to clean up the guts. I put each piece in a black trash bag and sprayed on a lot of deodorant. I wasn't sure if that would help against the smell, though. Many bugs flew around me when I was dismembering the corpses. After I finished putting all the pieces into each bag, the bugs were still flying around. But that was just because they could smell the blood. After I cleaned up everything, they were all gone. Now all I need to do is get rid of these 12 black bags. Those aren't bags. They're not. Hey, Rena, you going to woodworking class? Yeah! Burning them would be the easiest, but I don't think I can burn them to ashes without using a cremator. The best way is to bury them somewhere. Other than the torsos, every piece is small enough to fit in my backpack. I could easily carry them without being noticed. I could throw them in the river running through the dam construction site, but if I did that, somebody would find them for sure. I've seen them on the news several times before that a bag with a body part in it was found beside a river. Every time I heard something like that, I always thought the murderer was stupid. I thought about dumping them into the Onigafuji swamp, but rotten meat floats. I thought about weighing the bags, but there's no guarantee they'd stay down. Put enough rocks in there, and yeah, they'll stay down. Unless it tears the bag, though. So that left me one choice. To bury them. This is the same thought process that Keiichi had. Also, why did the swamp leak the toxic gas that killed everyone in Chapter 3, but not in literally every other chapter? Are they ever going to explain that? Probably. There are many unexplored mountains at the end of the abandoned districts around Yaguchi and Tatsukuto. Those are not the words. Just shut up. It's probably best to bury them somewhere in the mountains. While it would be safe to bury them here in the garbage dump too, it's not perfectly safe. Just stuff them into the trunk of Takano's car during Watanagashi. And she's already going to put dead body stuff there anyways, so it's no extra harm done. And so I'm going to bury all these bags somewhere deep inside of a mountain in order to completely erase the two of them. My joints hurt since I've been using muscles I don't normally use. Do the trees want pizza? Make me a pizza! I cleaned up the mess very carefully and got into my hideout. While still wearing the sweatsuit, I laid down on the mattress. I washed my hands carefully. With what? There's no running water here. But there was still dirt and blood under my nails. I should take a shower later and wash it off completely. When I say things like disposing of corpses, it sounds like I'm the greatest evil of the century. Nah, Rena, you're still not even in like the top 5. But that's only true if I get caught. What I did isn't a crime as long as I don't get caught. Plus, I didn't do this because I wanted to commit a crime. I didn't do anything wrong. Well, no, you did. Okay, I'll even potentially accept the Rina murder, but the Teppei murder was just premeditated murder. I'm not as big. I don't have as big a problem with it because he is like one of the top 2 worst people in the game. So you're still getting off easy compared to other characters, but no, you're not. You did do something wrong, and you're not absconded of guilt. I did this to protect my father's life and mine. People might speak ill of me, but I don't care about them. In the end, I don't think anybody can really pass judgment on my sins. Okay, see, no. Rena, you're going in a dangerous Shion direction now, where she felt no guilt whatsoever for her heinous crimes. Sins aren't something to pass judgment on. They're something to confess and to atone for. They're all 3. You're supposed to confess and atone for them, but if you don't, that's when you are judged for them. In other words, nobody can measure the weight of a sin other than the person who committed the crime. Nope, not true. Do I regret what I did? Do I feel sorry? No. Okay, see, Rena, I want to like you, but you're moving down the list. I don't think I did anything wrong. Okay. Well, you've now moved down the tier list there, Rena. I truly believe there was no better way than killing them. I'm sure it was the right thing because my life had already started to change since the night I killed them. A few days earlier, I just came home after killing Teppei. My father was cleaning the room Teppei had trashed earlier. His eyes were swollen. He'd been crying.
Lena, どこへ行ってたんだ?
Just hanging out. Playing Dominion with my friends.
あの男と話をしてきた。もうリナさんは二度とこの家に来ない。だからあなたも来ないでって言った。だから、あいつはもう来ないよ。
Oh, is that how you're gonna deal with it? He's not even gonna know Teppei died.
そんなのでおとなしくしてくれるやつじゃないぞ、きっと。レイナもしばらくは用心した方がいい。
It's hard to explain to him why Teppei would never come back. I can't tell him he shouldn't worry because I killed him. I grabbed ice cubes from the freezer, put them in a plastic bag, and handed it to my father.
お父さん、ほっぺた、すごい腫れてるよ。
It is interesting that Rena still has so much love and care for her dad after he hit her when she was younger. She must have known that it was like a... Well, actually, no, I think the problem was she blamed herself for him hitting her instead of realizing that he made a huge mistake. He must have only noticed it just then.
ありがとう。
私が片付けるからいいよ。掃除機持ってくるね。
Oh, the double meaning in that sentence.
レイナ、
He called out to me.
お父さんが悪かった。ごめんな。
仕方ないよ。あいつらは騙すのがなりわいだもん。だからお父さんは騙されただけだよ。
レイナはあいつらがそういう連中だって知ってたのか？
うん。最近だけどね。言っても信じてくれないと思って言わなかった。ごめんね。
He looked down. When he told me about how he wanted to get remarried, I told him that they were bad people and that they scammed others with Badger games. But he didn't listen to me. So I was right in saying that he wouldn't have believed me at all.
お父さんは母さんとの離婚で落ち込んでいるところをつけ入られたんだよ。
お父さんは本当にダメなお父さんだよな。
Rena's dad, you are far from the worst father in this game. You've made some mistakes, but I'd actually say you're probably one of the better fathers in this game. Then he started talking about how he'd met Rena, as if trying to absolve his guilt. It was when he was suffering the most, and he needed to drink away his sorrow. At the bar he happened to go to, Rena-san was the one who came to his table. It was her job to be a good listener when her customers talked. Rena must have really been a great listener and offered words of comfort when he talked about the divorce. If he was emotionally stable, he could have taken it as a kindness that she was only offering at the time. But he was so desperate that he took it the wrong way. After that, the tragedy was inevitable. He wanted to believe that it was destiny, and he glamorized everything about her. It would be easy to laugh at him and say that he was just dreaming. But I don't blame him, because being weak is also part of being human. You know, that's very true. I feel like I'm too quick to judge a lot of times where I'm like, man, you're an idiot. It's like, well, yeah, I've also been an idiot. He had plenty of opportunities to grow suspicious of her questionable spending habits. But my father just read that kind of behavior as an attempt to cheer him up. He bought everything she asked him to, and Rena had landed her catch. He shouldn't have brought his lover to the house where his daughter lived. But he was crazy about her, and he didn't even think about it.
お父さんはお父さんであることを忘れちゃってたんだ。本当にどうかしてた。
He started crying. I held his shoulders gently.
いいよ。お父さんがそれに気づいてくれたなら、お父さんはお父さんなんだよ。私には一人しかいない。最後の肉親なんだから。
It was a good scene. He couldn't stop moaning. We held each other and cried together. That's a cute scene. I can see now why a lot of people really like this chapter. This is a very well-written chapter. Very much enjoying it. Take out the Hooters part, and this is just gold. The next day, my father got up early in the morning. He was already cooking breakfast when I got up, and he told me,
お父さんは今日からしっかりするからな。
でもお父さん、目玉焼きを焼く前にサラダオイルは敷いた方がいいと思うかな。
Oh, it gets better? Oh, let's go! Let's go! I'm so glad to hear that, because I think this is really great already. If it's just gonna get better, oh, that's fantastic. He pried off the burning eggs on the pan with a spatula and he added salad oil to it. It was too late. Doing that just made it an even bigger mess. But I didn't say anything because I wanted to eat his eggs. I waited at the table quietly. He's picking up! He's doing more stuff! Oh, is that a homemade calendar? That looks really nice. He put the burned eggs on a plate and brought them over to me. It looked like he tried to salvage them by adding cheese, but it didn't really work. What kind of cheese? That will change things as well. Oh, I put on Stilton. Oh, no. Still, it smelled good and crispy. It actually stimulated my appetite. So good and tasty. Thick cut toast popped out of the toaster. I made coffee with extra milk and sugar because my father liked it sweet. Yeah, he does. We put everything on the table. It looked terrible, like the cooking class of an elementary school. But to me, it was precious because my father tried very hard to make it wearing the apron.
匂いだけなら美味しそうだよ。
I know she's a double murderer, but literally just because her victims were two terrible people, I don't care as much. So I actually am still liking these wholesome scenes, whereas when they tried it last chapter, I'm just like, boo!
あとは味だね。
やっぱり食事はレイナがやった方がいいか
Okay,
も
there's,
な。
there's no way that it's clearly gonna get more intense. Rena's gonna kill more people. I predict she will target her mom at some point during this.
これじゃかえって悪い気がする。
お父さんが仕事で忙しくなったらまた私が代わるよ。
He didn't have a job. Okay, yeah, he really needs to get up out of his butt. I know he had the alimony money, but you should still try to work as well. It had been a taboo to talk about work in our house. He hadn't worked since the divorce. Okay. It wasn't only because of the divorce, though. He just didn't have to work because of the settlement my mother gave him was so huge. That's the most unrealistic part of this game, is how big the settlement he got, even though his wife was in the wrong. Or maybe Japanese divorce laws are different than what we have here in the States. In the States, divorce court is horrible. Plus, I let him be lazy because I felt guilty about the divorce. Yeah, I mean, I get it. But my father cleared his wrongdoing by showing repentance to me. And I also atoned for my sin of not doing anything about my mother by doing what I did the previous night. Now we are free of sin.
お父さん、仕事を探してみるよ。今日は職案に行ってこようと思う。
Good for you. You know what? Regardless of what happened in the past, I'm going to be on your side, say, good for you, I'm glad you're taking that step. I hope it works out.
それはいいね。
It's not money that he wanted. He just needed a normal lifestyle. He just needs to do something. He needs to have purpose, right?
こんな年で体力もないからな。いい仕事があるか不安だよ。
Yes, I do live in the Northern Hemisphere.
どんな仕事ならいいの？
事務の仕事がいいけど、この年じゃなかなか雇ってもらえないだろうな。
Better that than like a physical job at your
私
age.
の友達に聞いてみるよ。みーちゃんはこの辺りの大地主のお嬢さんだからひょっとすると紹介してくれるかもしれな
They're
い
like, all right, you got a job at Hooters, because that's the only place they're constantly need new people. Can you believe that there's a high turnover rate at Hooters?
いいよいいよ、仕事くらい自分で探すよ。
Oh yeah, it's true, Rena. I mean, your dad's definitely going to want to try to do it himself, but he might take you up on that if that doesn't work.
その程度にはしっかりしないとな。
Rena's dad's relatable. I get that. I don't remember the last time we enjoyed breakfast like this. I don't even remember the last time we had breakfast together. For the first time in a long time, the morning light felt refreshing. Uh-oh, I see... Oh, wait. Never mind, I'm just stupid. I was looking at the ribbon on the ground and thought it was smoke. I'm like, uh-oh, there's a lit cigarette in here. That's not good. But then I'm like, oh, wait, no, that's just like an electric cord / a ribbon. I wanted to keep enjoying life like this, but unfortunately, I had to go to school. I told him that I'd skip school that day and that I wanted him to take me somewhere fun. But he tried to be a good father and said that I had to go to school.
じゃあ私学校行くね。
ああ、行ってらっしゃい。
He followed me to the front door. Are those still Rena's shoes? Because, okay, the ones in the middle I think are her dad's. The ones on the left probably are Rena's. I thought the ones on the right, like the flip-flops, were Rena's. Because those look like the kind of shoes she'd wear. Maybe not, though. Maybe they just have more than one pair of shoes. I was a bit embarrassed for some reason. He talked to me while I was tying my shoes. He followed me here not because he wanted to see me off, but because he wanted to tell me something.
お父さんは母さんとの離婚の後、
Yep.
でもお父さんはレイナと一緒だから寂しくなんかないんだ。
Aww.
そうだ。最初から寂しがることなんか何もなかったんだ。
Well, no. You definitely should have felt sad because of the divorce that had happened. Divorce is sad. That's understandable, but I like this new outlook. Yes, you do still have your daughter, and she loves you very much.
お父さん、それを家族って言うんじゃないかな。
そうだな。
The pink shoes on the left are definitely Rena's, and you love them. Those are some nice little shoes there.
そんなことを娘に教わるようじゃダメだな。
じゃあ、ケイチ君を待たせてるから、もう行くね。
いってらっしゃい。ああ、そうだレイナ。今日はお父さんが夕食を作るぞ。
Ooh.
食案に行くついでに買い物をしてくる。朝食みたいな失敗はしないから楽しみにしてるんだぞ。
Let's go. Let's
楽し
go.
みにしてるよ。行ってきます。
It's too bad Oisi got the free refrigerator in the dump though, so oof. I left the house. My father saw me off, still in the apron. It was the first step of our new life. I finally regained it. I finally regained everything we lost after we left Hinamizawa. Well, no, you still don't have a mom, but maybe you don't need that. My mother wasn't around, but I didn't feel sad because I had my father. The cries of the cicadas sounded as if they were celebrating my new life. The sunshine was bright and the wind was sending up a nice breeze. Oh, hang on. We gotta preemptively get derpy Keiichi. The only thing that wasn't nice was the ticking clock. I was late because I spent too much time talking with my father. Keiichi-kun might already be gone. I don't think he'd be waiting for me that long. Nah, derpy Keiichi's still here. But he was there anyway.
Yo! Ohayo!
おはよ
Yeah, derpy Keiichi, let's
う。
go!
遅れてごめんね。ごめん。
いいってことよ。普段は俺がレナを待たせてるんだからな。たまには俺を待たさせろ。
That's a good outlook. Why am I so, like, happy and innocent after all this dark stuff has happened?
ずいぶん遅くなっちゃったね。
Maybe it's because all the dark stuff happened, so I like having the lighthearted stuff to elevate it.
早足で行った方がいいかな。
そうだな。チャキチャキ行こうぜ。
Fast
さもないと
walk.
走る羽目になりそうだ。
みーちゃん、さすがに先に行っちゃってるかな。
待ってるだろう、絶対。俺たちは仲間だぜ。絶対に見捨てないし、勝手に行っちゃったりはしないよ。
Friends, near and far away.
それはそうと、今日は朝からいいことでもあったのか？
どうしてかな。
いやさ、今朝のレナは普段にも増して上機嫌そうだったからさ、特別なことでもあったのかなって。
That's right, Keiichi? Oh, wait, no. From Rena's perspective, Keiichi still thinks that she has both parents who are lovey-dovey. But Keiichi actually knows that they're divorced, but she doesn't know that. The good mood I was in must have been far too obvious for Keiichi-kun to ignore. I had not only my family, but my friends, too. I felt something warm spreading in my heart. What if nobody goes crazy this chapter?
それがね、聞いて。朝食をお父さんが作ってくれたんだけどね。それがね。
なんだよ。目玉焼きはそれで正しいだろ？サラダオイルってのはサラダに使うもんなんだろ？
Guys, I figured out how to have the perfect happy ending this chapter. All we need is for Rika to hire Kasai to be her bodyguard the week after with Tanagashi, so if whoever tries to kill her, he'll just shoot them. Boom! Happy ending, and we can do it in 6 chapters instead of 8.
みーちゃんたちに教えてあげようっと。
Ding dong. Oh, no. Oh, no. Nope, we cannot have Satoko in the OG art style. She's too derpy. What? Yeah, okay, we'll go back to console for a bit.
それは許しがたい暴言でございましてよ。
おう、上等だぜ。そこまで言うからには直接対決も辞さない覚悟だろうな。
Throw down!
おお、盛り上がってるじゃない。なんなら今日の部活さ、さとことけいちゃんで外馬行こうか。
What is that? What?
みーちゃん、
An outside bet? We got betting odds?
ああ、外馬ってのはよ。つまり俺とサトコだけで賭けをするってことさ。部活の順位がそのまま勝敗になって、負けた方は俺たちだけのペナルティを課
This
す。
club is way too obsessed with punishments. Why can't we just play the games and have fun?
つまり、どっちが勝っても負けても、僕はとっても楽しいのです。
Hi, Rika. That face is a lie.
どうするさとこ。
素敵な勝負でございますことよ。部活にビリで罰ゲームな上に、さらに私に負けてダブルで罰ゲームなんて、こんな素敵なことがございまして。
よーしさとこ、よく受けたね。よっしゃ、今日の部活は2人の外馬付きでやろう。
部活の種目より罰ゲームを何にするか考える方が楽しいのですよ。
Disagree. If that's more fun than the game itself, you're not playing a good enough game.
確かに楽しいよな。
In the OG art style, Satoko's hands are rated E for everyone.
サトコがどんな悲惨な目に遭うか今から想像できちまうぜ。
それはケイチさんのことでございま
No,
す
no,
よ。
no, Rika doesn't have a hangover. She watered it down, so that makes it okay.
ブニー、やりましたわね。ブニュー。
Uh-oh.
ほらほら二人とも勝負はまだ始まってないって。
Ooh, plot twist. I don't know where Rika got the bottle of wine from, but if she tried to buy it from the store, they might have just replaced it with grape juice and didn't tell her. And she's just like, man, this wine is good. I don't even get hungover. It's like, sure. Nope. Nope. We go to remake art style anytime the teacher's on screen, because teacher looks not great in the other two art styles. But here, yeah. Teacher, she's got it going on. Chia Sensei opened the door and came in.
皆さんお待たせしました。それでは帰りのホームルームを始めますよ。
What? That's it? Fastest school day ever. Everybody headed to their seats.
みーちゃん、
何？
ケイチくんとさとこちゃんがとても盛り上がっているところで申し訳ないんだけど。
What?
ごめんね。ちょっと今日も用事があってすぐ帰らないといけないの。
She just wants to be with her dad?
そうなの？もう用事じゃ仕方ないな。お家の仕事？
うん。
家事ってんじゃおじさんは口出しできないな。うちはお手伝いさんに全部任せっきりだからね。
Yeah, thank you, Mion. You live in a mansion with servants and a torture bunker. Yeah, thank you for reminding
たま
us.
にはみーちゃんも家事手伝いとかすればいいのに。きっと花嫁修行になるよ。
You mean if she gets married?
ご安心を。万事その手のスキルに関してはつつがなく習得済みですので。
Oh, please tell me, what skill is that? Mei-chan looks like the kind of girl who just tries to stay away from chores as much as possible, but she can actually do everything. That's just who she is. She went through hard times to learn those things. Well, yeah, because she was the unfavorite child for a while, but she acts like she learned them without any struggle. That's also who she is. That's what I like about you.
だよレナ。
Keiichi on the scene!
帰っちゃうのかよ。
ケイチさんが恥ずかしい格好で職員室にお伺いして
What is with everybody's obsession with making Keiichi wear, like, women's clothing? It is... Like, at first I thought it was just a one-off thing in the first chapter, which wasn't great when it happened then either. But no, it's like every single punishment, they're just like, let's make him wear some stupid girl's outfit. Like, every time. They need a new
煮
thing.
物なのに残念なのです。うん、ごめんね。
昨日も家の用事だったじゃねえかよ。
Your house must be a dump!
何かあったのか？
うん、ちょっとね、もう何日かかかるかもしれない。
じゃあ当分レナは部活に参加できないかな。
かもしれない。
Also, wait a second. I'm still thinking back to the Rika scene. She mentioned that she dies, like, the week after Watanagashi. That means that chapter 1 makes even less sense, because she didn't die in that chapter. But that chapter lasted more than a week after Watanagashi, if memory serves. There's no way Keiichi was just that paranoid for like 2 days or whatever.
なるべく早く復帰できるように頑張る。
その用事は俺たちには手伝えることか？例えば古い家具を運び出すとか、そういう力仕事なら言ってくれ。応援に行くぜ。
家の模様替えとかかい？おじさんたちみんなで手伝うよ。
Stop being such good friends. I just want to spend time with my dad.
レナさんの家のお手伝いで優劣起きそうのもありですわよね。
No, my friends are too good friends!
多分お手伝いしない方が優勝なのです。みんなありがとう。気持ちだけもらっておくね。
じゃあ仕方ない。竜宮レナを本日付で我が部より戦線離脱とする。お家の仕事が片付くまで休暇とするので、英気回復の上、
Thanks,
再び
Mio.
戦線へ復帰することをここに命ずる。
We don't know if they died or not because they went out of focus after a bit in chapter 1. That's true, chapter 1 definitely focused on Rena and a little bit of Mion after a while. But if they had died, if like Rika had died, we definitely would have learned about that. The whole village would be in an uproar because they basically worship her. Also, she's one of our best friends, so...
まあ4人なら4人で遊べるゲームもあるしね。
Oh, that's right! I forgot! Duh, I'm so stupid. I'm like, oh, she wants to go home because she wants to spend time with her dad. That's really sweet. No, she still has to clean up after the murder. How did I forget that?
そうだそうだ。ケイちゃんは麻雀とかできる？
Oh man,
お
I'm
う
an
任せろ
idiot.
親父の仕事関係の人たちの宅に
Sorry, the
無理
murder's
やり混
the
ぜられる
murder's
ことは
not that important to this story, all right? These hands.
もちろん私たちは麻雀だって精通していましたよ。
Yeah, but are you as good as Akasaka? Probably not. After that, they fooled around and made a lot of noise, just like they always did. I looked at them and reminded myself that I'd always have a place to return to. I left the classroom with a smile. I was going to Yagochi on my bicycle. I had to find a place to bury the bags with the body parts. Hopefully, I could finish burying all of them today before it gets dark. With that, everything will be over and done with. Why do I get the feeling we're going to run into Takano on the way there and she's going to be like, oh, hey, Rena, you're planning on burying a body here too? By the way,
パ
have
イ
you
の背中が竹だってのがなんだか怖いよな
by the way, have you heard about the dark secrets of Hinamizawa's past?
まさか岩パイってことはないだろうな
さーて、どうでございましょうね。圭一さんには以前のジジ抜きの時に手痛い思い出がございますものね。
まあ多少は傷もあるだろうね。
This is just a repeat of chapter
安
1.
物のパイだしさ。そのくらいの要素がないと我が部らしくないでしょ。ヒヒヒヒヒ。
みー、赤は何枚混ぜるのですか？
Why are we getting more focus on there, the
6
group?
つ？
Rika-chan sounded professional, and it scared me. We don't get to learn where Rena hides the bodies. Oh well. I should start by checking the tiles. Playing Mahjong with my family is different from playing it as a club activity. I have to be cautious. It's possible that one tile is missing or that there's an extra of a particular tile in here.
そんなことしないって。でも着想は面白いね。そういう手もあるか。
Takano, we've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty.
なるほどなるほど。
よしよしパイをみんな表にして並べてみようほれほれほれ
Everybody flip the tiles face up.
あれおい誰かのとこにチュンが1個隠れてな
ピンズとソーズの6が1個ずつ足りないですわね。
This is fun not knowing the rules of
ワン
Mahjong.
ズの6も1個足りませんでしたよ。
Oh no, Lowen is missing! He's busy carrying your Fire Emblem 7 run.
なんだなんだ随分と足りないじゃないか
そうだった。ちょいと待って。
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it! Mion hit the palm of her hand with her fist, moved her chair aside, and stuck her finger in the gap between the floorboards. She then pulled a tile out of there.
はいよ。まずはチュンね。
Mion, were you keeping that there as a secret to help you win?
あとの3つはどこだったっけな。
おい待てミオンどうして麻雀のパイが教室のあちこちに隠してあるん
You
だよ
dirty rat!
にゃはははは。まあまあ。
Yahaha, mama. That was a sentence. She must have hidden the other 3 tiles somewhere in the classroom and forgot where. We couldn't play Mahjong with 3 tiles missing. I suggested playing another game, but Mion insisted that we had to find them and suggested making that treasure hunt our game.
まあ、確かに圭一さんと勝負をつけるなら種目は何でもいいわけでございますけど。もうちょっとまともな種目がいいですわね。
Oh, Satoko! I forgot! I have great news. Your uncle's dead.
同感だなそれにこの教室に本当にあるかも怪し
You
い
have
んだ
no
ろ
more living relatives. Yes, that's actually good news.
多分あると思うんだよ。あるいはおじさんが懐にしまったまま帰っちゃって洗濯機の脇に置いてあるとかかな。
Oh, brother.
今度からミーと麻雀をやるときは終わった後にも牌の数を調べた方がいいと思いますです。
That is sensible, Rika. Also, you're clairvoyant. Don't you know where the tiles are? And you're just like, I don't know, Nipa. Everybody except Mio nodded in agreement.
何よ。教室宝探し対決じゃ不満？
つーかミオンのイカ様の後始末だろお前の責任でやれ部活を私的に使うな
ブーブー。じゃあどうする？麻雀は無理だしね。他何する？である人。
How about patty cake? As our club president, Mion usually decides what we'll play. I couldn't just come up with something on the spot. Dominion! Dominion! while we were all thinking Mion hit her palm with her fist, just like she did earlier.
じゃあさみんな、パイの宝探しが嫌ならさ、もうちょっとでっかく宝探しをしようじゃ
Are
な
they
い。
gonna go to the dump?
宝探しといえばレナのお家芸。
Oh.
ってことはダム現場のゴミ山か。
Ooh.
あそこってあんまり行ったことないんですけど、結構広いですわよね。あそこはバラバラ殺人の幽霊が出るから近寄らない方がいいらしいのですよ。
Rika knows that Rena is trying to hide the bodies, and she's just tactfully trying to steer us away from the garbage dump.
幽霊上等じゃないの。そのくらいの演出つかないと宝の山としてはインパクト弱いよね。
We got the Psalm of the Identity Crisis again.
へえ、そんな噂あるのかよ。確かバラバラ殺人があって主犯が未だ逃走
Also,
中。
you know something else that I've been thinking about? In chapter 1, when Keiichi hears about things like the damn construction site, that like the foreman got murdered, and that like his body like it was like never really found, and that the culprit was never was on the loose, and like all of the stuff about the dark history, he gets like freaked the f out and becomes like super like like super paranoid, like everyone's trying to kill me, because they actually were trying to kill him. But like now he's just like very nonchalant, like just yeah, I heard that like he was still on the loose, like. Well, are you paranoid about it or aren't you?
そいつの隠した腕一本が未だ見つからないと
Yeah,
か
he
言う
hit
ん
the
だ
arm of
ね
the victim, and he was freaked out about that in chapter 1.
その腕を探してバラバラにされた監督さんが幽霊になってさまよっているという噂があるのです。あらあらリカ、幽霊が嫌いなんですの？いいお年にもなって恥ずかしいですわね。僕はミコですから見たくなくても見えてしまうのですよ。
That's not how that works, Rika.
うわ、なんだよそれ。確かに見える人には当たり前のように幽霊が見えるって話聞いたことあるな。
If that were the case, then you wouldn't be able to see anything because there are so many dead people.
バカバカしいですわね。リカと一緒にずっと住んでますけど、そんなの一度も見たことありませんでしたよ。
He was paranoid because his friends didn't tell him about it in chapter 1, probably. That doesn't really track, but alright. I'll accept
サト
that
コ
for
に
the
見
time
えて
being.
ないだけなのですよ。サトコがお布団で寝てるときはいつも
So help me, if the mystery girl in her house is an actual ghost that she can see, I will lose it.
ニパ
I will eat an orange peel.
ー。リカ、そこで笑ってはぐらかさないでくださいませ。私が寝てるときは何なんですの？
Satoko, I feel sorry for you. You can pretend you're not scared of ghosts during the day, but I'm pretty sure you get scared when it gets dark. I'm gonna have to make a silent phone call tonight just to scare the hell out of her. Okay. Keiichi, there's no need to do that.
まあ私も含めてなんだけど、ダム戦争の後に好き好んであそこに出入りする人はいないんじゃないかね。レナくらいだよ、楽しそうにあそこで遊んでるのは。
レナのカーイーモードの前に幽霊が出た日には彼岸の向こうからでもお持ち帰りされかねんな。
There is no way that Rika has a secret roommate named Casper the Ghost. Not,
確かにありそうですわね。はう、お持ち帰りって。
That's a pretty good Rena impression. It was so easy to imagine that all of us laughed.
じゃあ決まり、今日はゴミ山探検にしよう。幽霊を見つけられたら優勝。
This is just a very contrived coincidence to make us go to the garbage dump and encounter her moving the dismembered corpse.
辞典は隠された右腕。その次はじゃあレナが気に入りそうな何かだね。レナに見せて白黒をつけてもらうってことでどうよ。
私は優勝でケイチさんはビリでダブル罰ゲームが楽しみですわね。
おいおい、サトコいいのかよ。優勝ってことは幽霊。
Oh, that was... Okay. He's over the top, but Keiichi's voice actor is very talented.
ちょっとやめてくださいませ。
Rika said we shouldn't. We should probably listen to the girl who has ultimate knowledge,
暑苦しいですわ。
even if she is a drunk.
僕もお化けが怖いので行きたくないのです。
I'm telling you, Rika knows, and she's trying to get us to not do that because she knows it's going to make everything worse.
も とは何ですの？もとは私は全然怖くなんかありませんわよ。ケイイチさん、お話遊ばせ。
では行くよ諸君、出撃準備。
Well, never mind. Rika had her mind changed real quickly. And it'll be over with. Everything will be over and done with. Yes, it will be over when the Higurashi cry. Hey, that's the name of the game. Oh, is this where we're going to catch up with the prologue? No, this is where we get to be continued. No! I want to keep playing! Okay, we don't get new tips, so we do have to still keep playing. Throw Satoko under the bus. Maybe it's contrived, but you think it still works because we see the characters play games everywhere. Yeah, I know. It's just like, well, that sure is convenient.
これで全部かな。
Yep, there it is. Ta-da! Rena finished making her confession. There was no applause or curtain call. It was quiet and a lonely stage that Rena performed on alone. I think I'd forgotten to blink since her confession started. Everybody else seemed to be feeling the same way. Rena looked at us like she was a teacher waiting for questions from her students. We noticed that she was imitating what Shia-sensei does at the end of class, and we all smiled bitterly.
さっきまでね、袋を埋める場所を探しに。絶対見つからない場所に隠そうと思うとなかなかいい場所が見つからないの。
I'm telling you, if Rika just did her deep voice like a, no, we should not go there. We should go home. I'm pretty sure they would have listened to her. Maybe they would have been, like, freaked out. But, you know. Also, I want to hire Kasai as my bodyguard.
自分の家の庭に埋める方がむしろ安心じゃないかななんて。
Rena, sweetie, why are you digging a big hole in the backyard? Don't worry about it, Dad.
でも、それじゃあやっぱり危ないよね。お父さんが突然家庭菜園をやりたいなんて言い出すかもしれな
Nah,
い。
your father's a fat man. He's not gonna plant veggies.
やっぱり遠くの山奥がいい。あの女をたとえ死んだ後でもお父さんに近づけたくなかったし。
I get it, Rena, I do. I felt like I did something very bad. Yeah? Oh, wait. This is Keiichi thinking. Here I thought Rena was feeling remorse. Nope. Rena's plan was going smoothly. If I'd only hunted for the Mahjong tiles instead of insisting on doing something else, this wouldn't have happened. When I looked at the others, they all seemed to be regretting their actions too. Rika's just like, I told you! If Mion hadn't come up with the idea to play at the garbage dump. If Satoko hadn't found the broken refrigerator. Satoko, why? If Rika-chan had convinced us not to go. She tried! Rena could have had a few more days, and she could have gotten rid of these trash bags. They never would have been found. I was joking about someone finding the refrigerator, being like, yes, this is what I need. Then what would have happened next? Nothing. Everything would have remained the same. We could have kept having happy and peaceful lives. Rena had been through a hard time, but she'd been forcing her face into a smile for us. Well, I mean, yeah. The fake smile was supposed to become a real smile one day. None of us were supposed to notice that Rena was going through a hard time. After a while, Rena was supposed to be able to forget the bitter memory of killing these two, and she was supposed to live as if nothing had happened. Yeah, Rena could have kept the secret, but now that everybody knows, Keiichi is absolutely going to be like, oh no, I'm going to come, we see I did it, and it's going to ruin everything. But now, all of her effort, all of her courage, had been ruined.
人殺しはいけないことだってことは私だって知ってるよ。したくなんかなかったし、これからだってしたくないと思ってる。
I can't believe we're already catching up to the prologue, and it's still early on.
でもね、これが最善の努力だったって信じてるし、私は悪いことをしたなんてこれっぽっちも思ってない。私は幸せで平穏な生活を取り戻すために神様から与えられた等しいチャンスの中で最大限に努力しただけ。
Hold up there. Just cause you were presented with that as a possibility does not mean God was telling you to do it. Could have been Satan doing that. Also, you now believe in God? I thought you believed in Oyashiro-sama.
製品であれば不幸せでもいいなんてのは満たされた人間の綺麗事だよ。
This is your favorite scene of this arc. Okay, I'll pay more attention.
その精一杯は 世界中の誰にだってけなせない。むしろ私を褒めてほしいくらい。
Rena, you're losing it.
称えてほしいくらい。
Rena, you're really losing it.
竜宮レナは自らの運命と戦った。そして打ち勝った。
I don't know why I did it, but I interrupted her. I shouldn't have. But I thought I needed to tell her this, so I did. でもレナ、どうして俺たちに相談してくれなかったんだよ。
Did you really just ask that stupid question? You really did.
相談？
そうだよ。俺たちは仲間だろ。仲間ってのは何があっても無条件で味方になってくれる家族同然の存在じゃないのかよ。
We would have had the murder conspiracy together?
俺たちに相談してくれれば何かの力になれたかもしれない。そうすればレナは自分の手を汚さずに済んだかもしれない。
Hi there, Trumpet. What Rena told us made me sad. Oh yeah, make it about you. I couldn't help myself from saying that to her. Rena told us straight that she did the best she could. She told us that right to our faces. Yes! She's indicating that you would not have helped, you would have made it more difficult. That's the same thing as saying that she didn't need us in order to do the best she could. True.
ケイちゃん、今はそんなこと言っても。
いや、頼む。喜びだって苦しみだって分け合うのが俺は仲間だって思ってる。だからレナが相談してくれたらきっと今よりもより良い未来へたどり着けていたと信じてる。
今よりより良い未来？そんなのないよ。これが最善の未来だよ。
The best possible... I see where she's coming from, because the two people she killed were terrible people. But also, like...
嘘だな!
That's Rena's line. My shouts seemed to scare her a little. That's funny, because when Rena shouted that in Chapter 1, she really scared me. I knew that Rena didn't believe that this was the best possible future. She just didn't have any other choice. If she had had other choices, she definitely would not have chosen this one. You were think
だっ
that.
てその証拠にレナはさっきから泣いてるじゃないか。
No, she's not. Her sprite's not crying.
はあ？誰が？私が？いつ涙を流したの？
今だよ。ずっと流してるじゃないか。自分で分かってないのか？
CG or it didn't happen. In fact, I didn't see any tears in her eyes or on her face at all. But that didn't mean she wasn't crying. Rena was crying. Keiichi does not seem to understand basic principles. She was crying because she was driven into a corner after all the hard work she did to become happy. Her tears looked so sad. She wasn't crying, though. Anyone who couldn't see those tears wasn't really thinking about her.
私は泣かないよ。誰が泣くものか。私は正しいことをした。最善の選択をした。それでどうして泣かなくちゃならないの？ケイイチのバカバカ。何を言ってるか全然わかんないや。
それが泣いてるって言ってんだよ。
Oh boy, it's time for one of Keiichi's legendary speeches where he talks nonsense and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, Keiichi, you're so great! Yes!" Rena stopped laughing all of a sudden, and she spoke with a cold expression on her face.
じゃあいいよ。ケイイチ君の言った通りにしたとしてみよう。私がみんなにお父さんとあの女のことを打ち明けた。さあ、どうしてくれるの？
Just imagine if she went to school and she's like, "Guys, I have a problem. This woman named Rena and this like crazy guy named Teppei are like plotting against me," and then Satoko just has PTSD flashbacks.
まずは
何？ん？
Rena had never talked to me like this before. You also had never talked to her like this before. It was as if she was mocking my ignorance, and that made me shut my mouth.
ケイイチ君は去年を知らないんだよ。
去年？
そう。去年、昭和57年6月。私と同じように、人を殺めることでしか抜けられない不幸の迷宮に閉じ込められた人の話を。
Satoko's like, "Wait! You're saying my brother killed my aunt?" Satoko gasped.
ケイイチ君はあまり知らないよね。北条聡君のことは。
I know that he's Satoko's older brother. He's been missing, but people say he transferred. There's a rumor that he killed his aunt for Satoko's sake. Therefore, it's been taboo to talk about Satoshi in my class. Actually, in all of Hinamizawa.
聡君もね。私と同じだった。
Actually, more extreme conditions.
ただ幸せで平穏な日々が欲しかっただけ。妹と静かに暮らせる生活が欲しかっただけ。圭一くんも去年殺されたさとこちゃんのおばさんがどういう人だったかは噂聞いてるよね。
If what I've heard is true, this is what happened. After Satoko lost her parents, her uncle and aunt got custody of her and her brother, but they were miserable people. True. Her aunt was especially cruel to Satoko. I find it hard to believe that her aunt was worse than Teppei. Considering the, what we learned in Chapter 3, and the implications that went with that. Satoshi was the kind of guy who wouldn't even hurt a fly. But his aunt probably was the only one of whom he didn't have a problem killing. That's how terrible a person she was.
北条家のトラブルはね、ひなみ沢では誰もが知っていたんだよ。おばさんがヒステリックで頭のネジのどうかしてることも、サトシ君とサトコちゃんを意味もなくいじめていたことも全部。
Yeah, but Satoko probably doesn't want to talk about this right now, surely.
全部。もちろんクラスの誰もが知っていた。御三家の当主跡継ぎであるみーちゃんとリカちゃんだってもちろん知ってたし、サトコちゃんに至っては当事者だもんね。圭一くんの言う仲間たちはひなみ沢の誰よりもよくサトシくんの辛さを分かっていたはずなんだよ。それで結果はどうだった？誰かがサトシくんを助けてくれた？
It's true.
誰も助けなかった。
That's because Grandma Oreo is a miserable person who's like, yeah, they're Hojos, they deserve it.
みーちゃんは一番力がある
Where's my
くせに
whiskey?
村のしがらみがどうとかよくわからない理由で煙に巻いて、結局無責任な同情の言葉をかけて傷つけるだけだった。
そんなことはないよ。
嘘だ。
Oh my! Oh, Lizard has returned.
サトシ君は分かってたよ。みーちゃんが口ぶりだけは同情してるふりをしながらも全然助ける気がないことを分かってた。だからサトシ君はね、途中からみーちゃんのことを嫌うようになったんだよ。普段は仲間だとか友達だとか言っておきながら、結局は北条家をいじめる園崎家の一味でしかなかったってね。
私は別に。
Wait, hang on. Is she referring to when Mion, aka Shion, aka actually Mion, aka the terrible person, like literally just beat up Satoko in front of the school because she's like, you're terrible for being abused, so that Satoshi has to defend you. Is she still remembering that?
何も救わずに放置した。
I mean, I don't know if this still happens in the same timeline or
サト
not,
シ君
but
の助けてほしい思いを同情という言葉で拒絶したんだ。それがどれほどサトシ君を傷つけたか分かってる？
Mion tried to find something to say, but failed to do so. She bit her lip instead.
それはリカちゃんも同じだよね。
Rika's like, maybe if I just smile and don't say anything, they'll go away. Now Rena was pointing fingers at Rika-chan. Unlike Mion, Rika-chan looked emotionless and empty, just like Rena did. No, she's got a smile on her face. She's just like, this is another normal day.
リカちゃんは確かにみーちゃんに比べたらその発言力は微々たるものかもしれない。
You're right, she doesn't have the kind of power that Mion does. Her power is very different.
でも神社に出入りしてるお年寄りたちにとても大きな発言力を持っていたはずだよ。
Throughout the series, you've been feeling more and more bad for Mion. Leave her alone, please. Yeah! Mion does have the misfortune of being in a terrible family, but I feel like she's not doing anything to try and make the family not terrible. But
リ
yeah,
カちゃんに
she's a
もでき
victim
る
a
努
lot.
力があったのにしなかった。
Rika, I'm dying in 2 weeks. I've checked out.
リカちゃんも結局はみーちゃんと同じ哀れみの表情を浮かべて小娘を装っただけだった。するのはサトシ君やサトコちゃんを慰めるだけ。その根本原因に対して何の手も差し伸べようとしなかった。そんな無慈悲な哀れみがどれほど残酷だったか想像できる？サトシ君が欲しかったのは救いだった。誰かに助けて欲しかった。
Did he, though?
自分の力だけではどうしても抜け出せない苦境だったから。首まで沈もうとする沼の中で精一杯手を伸ばして誰かに掴んでもらうことを期待していたんだよ。
Again, he didn't ask for help, so...
そうね。
Rika-chan's voice sounded mature. It It was very different from how she usually sounded. Oh, is she pulling out the voice now?
サトシたちを救う方法がわからなかったから慰めることしかしなかった。
It's not quite her whine voice, but it's a mix between them.
それにかまけ救う何かを探し続けなかった罪は分かってるじゃない。
Rena gave her a twisted smile. That ugliness caused me to look away.
そしてサトコ
Oh, we didn't get to see her creepy smile sprite? That would have been a good touch.
あなたに信じられるかわからないけれど、あなたの罪はとても重い。
I didn't understand why she was blaming Satoko. I tried to take her side, but I gasped in surprise when I looked at her. Oh, that's one of the hardest sprites to look at. Right there. Satoko with just the dead eyes. That's one of the most powerful sprites in the game. Less powerful there. Definitely less powerful there. Oof. Oof. That's just like... Oh, man. Maybe it's just because of how this was used in Chapter 3, but man, this sprite is hard for me to look at. Satoko must have wanted to confess her sin before Rena pointed it out to her. And so Satoko opened her mouth first.
信じてくださるかどうかは分かりませんけどちゃんと気づいてますのよその罪。
Satoko?
そうなんだ。ニーニーがいなくなってしまったあの夜に気づきましたのよ。それをどうしてニーニーがいるうちに気づけなかったのか。
わかるよ、その気持ち。後悔した時にはもう遅いというのは私も同じだったから。
Satoko, like, even if I don't much care for your normal personality, you're probably the least... I was gonna say least messed up. Least messed up as far as your own actions go compared to everybody else. Like, the only thing you really did was you pushed Keiichi off a bridge at the end of Chapter 3, but that was kind of understandable. Also, apparently didn't kill him
同
anyways.
じことがもう一度起こったから今度は戦った。さとこちゃんのその罪はきっと将来あがなえるよ。その罪に気づけたならきっとね。
それでももうニーニーは帰ってきませんのね。
True. Satoko looked down sadly. Usually Satoko would say the opposite. She always said that Satoshi was coming back one day without a doubt. But now she accepted the fact that he would never return. She accepted it easily, as if she knew it already, because he's her brother.
ね、
Shocked me all of a sudden.
これが私と同じ苦境にいた昭和57年のみんな。サトシ君は自分を助けてくれそうな人たちにはみんなに全てを話したよ。助けてほしいと言ったし、辛いとも言った。打ち明けた、相談した。転校してきたばかりの私にまでね。それはみっともないことじゃない。本当に不幸な人はね、必死なんだよ。サトシ君は自分でも懸命に頑張ってた。それでもどうにもならないからみんなに助けを求めた。
But he didn't ask for help.
ずっと求めてた。
No, he didn't!
でもね、これが圭一君の言う無条件で味方になってくれる仲間たちの体たらくなんだよ。仲間なんて楽しくてどうでもいい時間を一緒に寄り合って過ごすだけのお友達。
Ooh.
本当に辛い時に味方になってなんてくれないんだよ。
Rena, I don't appreciate you just calling me out like that.
昔からそうだったよ。引っ越し先でもそうだったからね。だから私、
This is
自
good
分が
music,
サトシ
yeah.
君と同じ状況になったと知った時、私は仲間に打ち明けるのなんかやめようってね。だってどうせ誰も助けてくれないし助けられないものなら同情なんて気がめいるだけなんだよ。せめて学校にいる間くらい楽しく過ごした方が気が紛れていいかもしれないもの。実際みんなと楽しく過ごす学校の時間は楽しかったよ。とっても幸せだった。あの女たちとのトラブルをわずかの時間でも忘れることができて本当に良かった。サトシ君もそれに気づけていたらよかったね。そうだったなら学校での時間くらいは楽しく過ごせて、あそこまで心を追い詰めずに済んだかもしれない。どうせ自らの手でおばを殴り殺す以外に解決方法はなかったのだし。転校してきたばかりで村のこともほとんど覚えていない私にはサトシ君をどう助けてあげればいいかわからなかった。できるのは
話を聞いてあげて少しでも心を軽くしてあげるだけ。でもそれ以上に助けることができたのかもしれないし、私もその努力を怠っていたかもしれない。それなのに昭和57年の私はサトシ君と仲間のつもりだったんだよね。
That sounds frighteningly similar to Shion's laugh, and I don't like it. Oh no! Oh, I was not expecting that. That is a gorgeous CG, but wow. Oof. I did not expect this. Man, Satoshi's disappearance hit her way harder than I thought it did. Rena's self-derisive laughter changed into grievous sobs. Her tears gradually wore away at our relationship of trust. Nobody will help me. Friends are just people whom you have fun with. You can't trust them. The more Rena cried, the clearer we heard her voice in her heart. Mion, Satoko, and Rika-chan looked into the distance with sad expressions on their faces. I was the only one who could say anything back to her now. I had to tell her this. And she knew it too. She just needed to hear it from someone. I braced myself to tell her something that might hurt everybody.
よくわかったぜ、レナ。
Thumbnail for sure, absolutely.
昭和57年のことはよくわかった。こいつらが白状だったってこともわかったさ。でもよ、サトコだって言ったろ。こいつらはみんな自分の罪に気がついた。後悔した。だから今度は違うはずだ。今度は仲間の苦しみを真に理解して助けてくれるはずなんだ。
去年いなかった人に言われても信憑性ないね。
That's true. You're talking out your butt, Keiichi.
ああ、そうだ。俺は去年いなかった。だから残念だぜ。去年の俺がもうサトシのために絶対に戦った。
And you know he would have. Keiichi just likes to be part of the movement. He's just like, yeah! F the system!
そうだ。
Uh-oh.
嘘じゃねえ。俺はひなみ沢に来てからどれだけ仲間がかけがえのないものかを知った。だからそんな仲間たちを救うためなら俺はどこまでも戦うぜ。
The Rena angry sprite here is in like the top I don't know how many scary sprites in the game. Probably top 5 at least. Ah! I hit you just a little bit. Oh jeez. I totally forgot how crazy she looks in this one. Oh, wait, this is actually, I forgot how nuts this like crazy sprite here is.
サトコやサトシをいじめるおばがそんなにもうぜえやつならサトシになんかもったいねえ。
She literally
この
looks
俺
like
が叩き殺してやった。
she looks like she is like 5 seconds away from snapping your neck like it's a dead twig.
ものの1500秒でだ。
Oh no, not 1500 seconds again. Man, he really likes that
躊躇なんかしねえ
number.
ぞ。速攻だ。学校の倉庫あたりから金属バットの一本もちょろまかして
We know that's
即ぶ
true.
っ殺してた。
口先だけならどうとでも言えるね。人を殺すのにどれだけの思い切りがいるかも知らないくせに。
Rana, you needed very little determination. You're just like, oh, she tried to choke me. Time to kill her and her boyfriend.
知らねえし知る必要もねえな。仲間を救う以上の義務がどこにあるってんだ。
ケイチ君は全然分かってない。人を殺すことがどれだけ汚らわしい行為で、どれだけ自らを美化しようとも決して振り払えない汚れであることを分かってない。
そうだな。確かに仲間を救うためでも直ちに人殺しってのは短絡的すぎるよな。レナの言い分に相反するようで悪いけど、悪いことに悪いことで立ち向かうってのは多分うまくいかないようにできていると思うんだ。
Two wrongs don't make a right.
仲間のためなら人殺しだって厭わないその精神だけは立派だと思う。だけどな、悪いことで得た平穏ってのは絶対に長く続いたりしないんだ。それを人は本能的に知ってるから悪いことを嫌うんじゃないかと思うんだ。
Rena's like, I'm not hearing this right now.
何それ。
Oh, maybe she is.
ケイチ君が何を口走ってるのかよく分かんないよ。
She didn't have to tell me that. I was aware I wasn't making any sense. You never do! But, for some reason, I could easily imagine a world like that. A world in which I saved my precious friends by committing an evil act. Yep! The peace I seized by doing that evil deed didn't last long. Well, that's because you did it wrong! It got worse. It ended in a way as terrible as the sin I committed. Actually, a lot worse. That was a memory that shouldn't exist. I don't know why, but I know for a fact that it happened in that world of possibility. Wait, he has a slight memory of the other chapters? Hold up!
すまん。俺も自分で何を言ってるのか意味がわからなくなった。
For some weird reason, I couldn't prevent myself from smiling in embarrassment even in a situation like this.
でも、レナは分かってるはずだ。だから、自らの手を汚すほかなかった運命を、助けて欲しかった俺たちを嘆いてるんじゃないか。レナは殺人者になんかなりたくなかったんだ。これが最善の選択だったなんて、絶対嘘なんだ。
She didn't truly become a murderer until she killed Tepe.
だからさっきから、ずっと泣き続けているんじゃないか。
そうだ嘘だ嘘だ嘘だそんなのは嘘だ
Uh-oh, she's losing it.
嘘かどうかはお前が一番知ってるんじゃねえか。最初から後悔してるんだろ。たとえ誰にも知られることなく死体を隠せたとしたって一生両手についた血は落とせないんだ。そんな十字架を背負って生きていく苦痛をどうやってごまかす。
I wonder what's gonna happen when Keiichi has a memory of when Rena and Mion tried to murder him in chapter 1.
一つしかない。
He's gonna be like, that didn't happen!
これしか方法がなかったと思い込むことだけじゃないか。それはつまり仲間に相談する価値がないって思うこと。仲間を一生否定し続けるってことだぞ。レナにとって俺たちはその程度の存在だったのか。
Bro, don't try to guilt trip her.
違うだろ。本当に助け合える関係なのが仲間だってこと。確かに去年の仲間たちはまだ未熟だった。
Hey, Knight, welcome to the stream. Yeah, this chapter is amazing.
だからサトシを不幸な運命から救えなかった。でも人は成長するんだ。ミスは二度と犯さないし、後悔は二度と繰り返さない。だから信じろ。俺たちは仲間だ。
I'm telling you, man, Keiichi, destined to be a politician.
お前の一番の味方なんだ。
Uh-oh. Hang on, are we about to get lizard eyes
つ
again?
まりそれは私も未熟だったってこと？
そうだ。仲間たちが日々成長していることを信じられなかったレナも未熟だ。
To be fair, it was only a year ago.
だがそれを責める気はないぜ。俺たちだってレナが一人悩むのを今日まで気づけなかった。人は語り合うことでしか胸の内を明かせない。
Yes.
だから今日のこの場までは仕方がなかったことかもしれない。そういう意味では言いたくはないが、今日という日がレナにとって最善の選択の向こうにあったことを認めざるを得ないかもしれない。
Hey, Marty, you came in at an interesting time. So Rena has killed two people who were admittedly really terrible people, and the first one tried to choke her to death. And now her friends have found out, and we're like, "Nah, you did the right thing, but you should have told us. We would have helped kill them for you." It's very interesting.
でも俺たちは今この場になってレナが去年からずっと持っていた不信感も
Sounds normal for this game. Yeah, pretty normal.
全部吐き出し合った。
Oh, also Rika, the little girl, apparently has clairvoyant knowledge and gets drunk on a regular basis.
だから俺たちは今こそようやく
本当に今更だね。いつも罪は手遅れになってから気づかされる。
Yeah, but that's why we repent.
そうでもねえさ。例えば俺は仲間であるレナの今回のこの出来事を理解できる。
理解できる。
I love how Keiichi's the only one talking. Everyone else is just like, let him cook.
人の命を奪うのは許されることじゃないっていう道徳的なことはもちろん理解している。でもそれを理解した上で仲間であるレナが
Okay, no.
こうするほかなかったことを理解する。
She didn't really have a choice for the first one. She literally committed premeditated murder when she killed the uncle. I'm not that upset about it because he sucks, but...
レナを汚らわしいと思わないし恐ろしいとも思わ
Oh,
ない。
Keiichi, you should be. She's the most terrifying visual novel character I've encountered.
次に
When
同
she wants
じよう
to
な
be.
ことがあったら今度はこういう結果にならないように悩み合おう。
Suck it, Dahlia.
だけどすでに起こってしまったこの出来事を俺は理解する。理解ってのはつまり許すということだ。俺はレナのこの行為を否定したりしない。
I said that to everybody this time. I said it to all my friends.
俺はレナのやったこの出来事をこれしかどうしようもなくて悩み抜いた上で至った最後の手段だったってことを。
But she didn't think it through with Tepe. That's the thing.
だから
I think do you think she's more terrifying than Shion? Yeah, Shion just annoys me and angers me. Rena in chapter 1, Rena terrified me in like a visceral way. In a way that no other visual novel characters come close to. And part of that is just my own life experience. But like, holy crow, the scene... So the first scene where she turns like crazy, and the scene where she tries to break into your house and reveals she's been like following you everywhere. I don't think a character has ever terrified me that much.
俺はレナに協力しようと思う。
ケイちゃん。
もちろん殺した理由が金目当てだとかそんなくだらねえのだったら警察へ叩き出してやってるぜ。だけどな、レナはそんな気持ちでやったんじゃない。どうしても逃げられなくて悩み抜いた末に至った今日なんだ。レナの罪はそこに至るまでに俺たちに相談しなかったことを。だけどそれを俺は許す。だから今日に至ったその行為も俺は許す。
ケイイチ。
Hey, Rika.
だからみんなもレナも今日に至るまでそれに気づけず
He's
レナを一
apologizing
人
for
で
being
悩ませた俺を
dead.
許してくれ。それが今日を招いた俺の罪だ。
Oh yeah, Rika's also creepy, but yeah, she's not malicious. She's just like, done.
ケイイチさん。
このヤバい袋の山を知ったのは俺たち全員が秘密にすれば。
Yeah! Yeah, when 5 kids all try to keep a secret like this, no one will ever squeal. Of course
レナ
not.
は何も気にすることはない。
Rika won't squeal. I don't trust these two though, Satoko and Mion. I also don't trust Keiichi. Between those three, one of them's gonna squeal.
最初の予定通りにこの袋をどこかに隠しちまおうぜ。そして全員で塩でお清めでもして一丁上がり
In
だ。
fact, out of all the characters, Keiichi is definitely gonna be the one who let something
そ
slip.
したら俺たちは全ての罪を許し合おう。そして取り戻そうぜ。本当に平穏な日々を。
Take more breaths in between your words next time,
これだ
Keiichi.
ろ。
Rika's like creepy doll scary. That serious face, yeah, it's a
レナが
disturbing one.
本当に選びたかった未来ってやつはこっちなんだろ。最善の選択肢は。
ケイイチくん。
I jumped on the hood of the abandoned car Rena was standing on, and I reached for her hands.
認めろ。こっちが本当にレナが来たかった世界なんだよ。
They covered for him in Chapter 3. I still have no clue what actually happened in Chapter 3.
レナが本当に選びたかった選択肢なんだよ。
You know what? That's fair. That's true. Satoko's the most trustworthy out of those 3 that I mentioned. Rena's not gonna spill her own secret. Rika won't. Satoko probably won't. Mion, I'm not sure about. Mion might tell Shion, and then Shion will just post it on Facebook. And it's like, what? I didn't know it had to be secret.
確かにこの選択肢はレナ一人だけじゃ選べない。レナと俺たちが互いに手を差し伸べ合ってしか選べないんだ。
Not only would Shion post it on Facebook, she'd post it on Mion's Facebook account, pretending to be her.
つまり俺だけが差し伸べても
That way
意味が
Mion
ない
gets
ん
in
だよ。
trouble for it.
俺だけじゃない。みんなが差し伸べる。だからレナ、お前も手を伸ばせ。それで互いに手をつかみ合って初めてお前は本当に選びたかった選択肢の向こうの世界に行けるんだよ。
To be frank, I feel like a third of Keiichi's monologue I've just kind of skimmed over, just thinking like, yeah, Kingdom Hearts, we're friends, blah blah.
ケイイチくんの言葉は本当なら嬉しいよ。でもみんなもそうだとは限らないよ。
Should we? Shion would tell Luisi for the lulz. Shion has, yeah, she's terrible. Little hand touched mine. Okay, Rika, that is too close with that facial expression. It was Rika-chan.
リカちゃん。
レナは決して汚れてなんかいない。 あなたは決して屈しなかった。そしてこんなにも泥だらけになりながら。
Knowing nothing about these characters healing what one of them would post on secrets on Facebook is hilarious. Oh yeah, so Marty, Shion is Mion's identical twin sister. She is actually the worst protagonist I've ever encountered in terms of like unlikability and evilness. Most of the time she's just a troll who torments her friends for fun. Last chapter she literally crucified a 12-year-old abuse victim. That's all you really need to know.
そんなあなたをどうして私は認めずにいられるのか。
Rika-chan's small hand was strong, and she spoke eloquently.
私は逃れられない不幸の迷宮に飲まれ、すべてに失望する堕落の心地よさを知っている。だからこそたった一人で屈することなく戦い続け、今日をそんなあなたが身近にいることを、私も圭一と同じあなたの罪を許す。だからあなたも。
リカちゃん。
私は無力な小娘だけれど、きっと戦えた。自分も運命に屈しないレナのように戦う。
Will you?
だか
Or are
ら
you just gonna get drunken tonight again?
私をあなたの仲間として許してもらいたい。
Rika-chan usually asks childish, but now she's like a totally different person. It's like she is. She meant every word she was saying. And then another little hand reached out to ours. Okay, Satoko, could you please not look like you remember getting crucified last chapter?
サトコ。
Satoko put her hand over mine and Rika-chan's. She didn't say anything, looking down for a while. Rika-chan urged her to speak.
私もリカも両親を失って一人ぼっちですけれど、今日までそれを嘆いたことはありませんでしたよ。皆さんという仲間という家族がいたから。私は
There we
これ
go.
からも皆さんとレナさんと仲間という名の家族でありたいと思っていますのよ。家族同士だからこそ時には全てを打ち明け合うのは当
Okay,
然
like
ですわ。
low key, Satoko probably likes Rena more now after Rena killed her uncle.
だから今日はいいきっかけになったと思ってますの。互いの罪を許し合う機会が恵まれたことに感謝いたしましたよ。
仲間という名の家族か。サトコにしちゃいい例えだな。
レナさんの罪を許しますわ。どうか私の罪も許してくださいませ。
Satoko, you're not to blame! You're the abuse victim here! A big hand reached out for ours. It was Mion's.
仲間の大切さを語る
Hi!
部長である私の役目だと思ってただけに、いやはや私も部長失格かななんて。
You ignored Rika's warnings to not go here.
ミオ。
ごめん、ふざけたね。
That's just instinctual. Mion still smiled and scratched her head.
レナの境遇を察しなかったことを仲間として部長として恥
But
じ
she
るよ。
didn't tell us, so how could we know?
許してほしい。もちろんレナが私たちに相談しなかったこと。
This is why if I was there when I was in high school, like, they'd probably all hate me. I'd just be like, yeah, you gotta turn yourself in.
それは私が打ち明けるに足る存在じゃなかったってことだからね。私はリーダーであらねばと日々努力しているはずなのに、全然その未熟さは。だからレナの罪を許す。
This is a long scene, my goodness.
レナ。
We gotta scooch over to the left and the right to make room for Rena here.
俺たちは全員手を重ねて差し伸べたぞ。こっちは全部揃った。あとはお前だけなんだ。手を伸ばせ。
Waiting for her to have lizard eyes.
こっちへ来い。お前が本当に来たかった世界はこっちなんだ。もう手は全員が差し伸べてる。
Why is Rika still staring at us like we took the last Italian urban cheese bread?
だからためらうな。
レナは人殺しだよ。きっとみんなに迷惑をかけるよ。
レナ、私たちは。
リカちゃん、もう余計なことは言わなくていい。俺たちは全員で手を重ねて差し伸べている。
Yeah, this is a powerful scene
こ
for
の事
sure.
実にこれ以上上塗りする言葉は 何もだからレナにだって言葉はいらないんだ。
Keiichi needs to stop taking a big breath after every few words. It makes me accidentally cut off his monologue way too often.
こっちへ手を伸ばせばいいんだ。来いレナ、夢とか幻とかじゃない。ましてや手遅れでも何でもない。レナにはまだ選べる選択肢が残ってるんだ。だから選べ。
You must choose!
来るんだ。俺たちはやり直せるんだ。
Rena slowly reached out, and her hand touched ours. She didn't hold our hands. All she needed to do was touch our hands to show us her will. Rena chose to live, to share her life with her friends, rather than to refuse them for the rest of her life. I took a step closer to her and firmly grabbed her wrist. It was getting dark, and some stars had appeared in the sky. We all forgave each other for our sins for the first time. And it was a little embarrassing, but Rena's tears made us all cry, and we just kept crying together. We stood in a circle, holding each other by the shoulder and putting our heads together in the middle. We are a family made of friends. We forgave each other, and we're happy together. There's a memory in the back of my mind, but it's not supposed to exist. I tried to save one of my friends in that world. In order to do that, I rejected all of my other friends. I acted recklessly alone, and I brought about the end of the world. The situation we had here is the same as that incident in that faraway world, in the sense that people had been deprived of their lives in order to save one friend of mine. But other than that, it was different. We have Rena, Mion, Satoko, Rika-chan, and myself. Yay! They exclude Shion! Let's go. Nobody was missing. Exactly! We were all going to regain them. We were going to regain those happy and peaceful days. The road going there might be a little rough, but we'll walk it together. We all will. The moon is so lovely tonight. Abrupt change. We went to the place in the mountains of Higurashi that Rena had picked for burying the bags. Carrying corpses is a scary thing to do, but it made us united more strongly because of that. Since each part of the corpses is in a separate plastic trash bag, we can tell what's inside each bag by touching it. First, we forced ourselves to laugh whenever we had to touch the bodies, because we were scared. But after a while, we got used to it, to the point where we could make jokes about it. Of course, all of that was probably a bluff, but we all tried our best. Mion somehow had detailed knowledge of how to hide corpses, and she told me to dig the hole deeper. How suspicious. Rika-chan helped to carry the bags. That's all I'm gonna do. Satoko had used her talent of setting traps to perfectly camouflage the place where we buried the bags. Me? Well, I was in charge of digging the hole. Rena dug it earlier, but I made it a little deeper. After we finished all of that, we walked back to the place where we parked our bicycles and looked back at the place where we buried the bags. It was completely unnoticeable. We'd never be able to find the place again once we left for home. That's how perfect it looked.
よっしゃみんなお疲れさんこれでおしまいだね帰ろ帰ろ
Come on, Takano's gonna show up and be like, that was a good spot. I'm gonna remember that. Mion said it cheerfully, as if we just finished club activities or something. We had no more bags to carry, and no longer had any burden to carry either. We got on our bicycles, but Rena was still standing there, looking into the distance.
おいレナ。
ごめん。ちょっと熱が出ちゃったみたいで、なんかぼーっとする。
Rena's face looked slightly red. Mion touched Rena's forehead. It actually was a little warm. She had a tough day today. She had to go through so many things. She had to find a place to hide the corpses. She had to dig a hole. We caught her with the bags. We talked about our feelings, and we forgave each other. She must be exhausted after a day like that.
レナ、今日は帰ったらゆっくり休め。
ありがとう。そうするね。
レナ私たちはもう全部許し合ったんだよだから自分を責めちゃダメだからね
やっぱりみんな
何がだ？
You took too long of a
やっ
gap.
ぱり私自分を騙せてなんかなかった。どう自分の行為を美化したって私は心の中で恐ろしいことをしたと
Oh, is she admitting that she was wrong, that she does have regrets?
みんなに助けてもらってここまで来てこんななんだもん。もしみんなと会わずに一人で全てを片付けていたら私は耐えきれず 潰されてしまったかもしれない。
That sounds familiar. She said all this with a bitter smile. It might take her a long time to heal from the pain, but it must be 100 times shorter than the time it would have taken if she did this all alone. Rena's home was the closest from here. Rena went her way and the four of us were left behind. Mion made a suggestion.
明日からなんだけどさ、みんな揃って今日のことを忘れるのがいいと思うんだけど。
Kate, she's like, no way! I already made a Facebook Live reel.
どう思う？
そうですわね。それが一番レナさんにとって優しいことになると思いますわ。レナは強い人です。僕たちがそう振る舞えばレナもそう振る舞ってくれますですよ。
振る舞いもずっと続けてれば本当になるって言うもんな。
語らないことでそのうち私たちは忘れていくよ。
I don't think you can forget something this big.
そして完全に忘れきった時が私たちのゴールだね。
おそらくその日は一生かけて来るか来ないか
Well,
を
at
探る
least
こと
you
になる
guys
と
will.
思い
I'll
ま
be
すで
dead by
す。
then. The day of reckoning
そ
will
うかも
come.
しれませんわね。簡単に忘れられることではありませんでしたよ。
We are smiling way too much considering we just were accomplices to murder.
仮に生涯忘れられなくてもいい。
Me and the boys helping my friend get away with murder.
大切なのは
It's even
最
the
後
same
ま
number
で
of
全員の胸に
characters.
しまって秘めておくことなんじゃないかと思う。
思い出させない方が大事だからね。
We nodded in agreement, just as my house came into view.
じゃあな、みんな。明日また学校でいつもの通りに。
いつもの通りにいつも通りにトラップに引っかかり遊ばせですわね。
じゃあね、ケイちゃん。
Can we get it to be continued? No! We still don't get it to be continued. After I parted with them, I still felt hot and dizzy. I felt really weird. I was even staggering to the front door. I felt as if I was floating in the air. I just took some very strong cold medicine. Today, something very shocking, something that made me super happy, and something very embarrassing happened to me. I felt as if my heart and my mind were about to explode because they were filled to the brim with both happiness and sadness. I don't know whether I made a crucial mistake today, or if I just had the happiest day of my life. I don't know which it was. And all I could do was stare blankly into space. I felt frustrated, too. Even though they were my friends, I was caught in the act of abandoning the corpses. But at the same time, I felt relieved that my reliable friends accepted what I did. Those emotions were all mixed up in my heart, and they were equally strong, making it difficult for me to decide what I was feeling. I was losing my sense of balance. It was like the world was warping around me. I heard sounds as if I was in the shower. So everything left me with a feeling of inequality. No. When these emotions were about to make me lose control, I felt a heat on my wrist. The part where Keiichi-kun grabbed me earlier started throbbing. My feelings weren't cooperating with me, but the heat on my wrist calmed them down for me. I don't know how to express what I felt when my friends and I held shoulders together in a circle earlier, but the feeling was the only thing I knew to be real.
ただいま。あれ？
As soon as I opened the front door, I smelled it. It smelled really good. My father isn't good at cooking, but he likes trying to cook creative dishes. I remember he used to cook something very challenging whenever he was in a good mood, so this smell is a sign that he felt that way. That's why I always like this smell. The reason he's in a good mood is because he found a job. One day, let's go! And not just any job. He found a job with a company created by friends from his old workplace. They remembered my father promised to hire him. Hey! He told me some of his other colleagues from the old company are also working there. It must be very encouraging for him to work with people he knows, because he hasn't worked for a long time. Let's go. The dinner looked great in contrast to how it tasted. Oh, sick burn. It was a dinner to celebrate his new life, to show his determination, to regain his bond with his daughter, and to make a clean start. A new start? I talked about a lot of things with my father that night. So what did you do today, Rena? It had been a long time since last time I talked to him like this. I don't remember when it was, but it reminded me of the days I was still happy, which meant that I'd finally returned to that time. My father still believes that Teppei is coming back one day, so he's still very cautious about locking the doors and windows, and he gets scared every time someone rings the doorbell. Did you ever repair the glass on that window that Teppei just busted through? I told him so many times that he'd never come back, but I couldn't convince him, because I couldn't tell him the reason why they won't. He'll eventually realize that he's free. I'm sure it won't take too long. My heart was full of many Many emotions that day. If emotion could actually burst a heart, it might happen to me. My brain must have been overworked because so many things happened at once. My head was still fuzzy, but I managed to crawl into bed. I felt like the ground was moving. I totally lost my sense of reality. I remember that once I felt like this when I got the flu. I might get a high fever tomorrow, but I don't care. I don't care if I get sick tomorrow. I just wanted to enjoy the fact that I took a step towards the future of my decision. Keiichi-kun told me something like that today. The high fever and the dizziness made me feel frustrated for some reason. But whenever I felt frustrated, I felt the heat on my wrist too. I grabbed my wrist with my left hand tightly. It made the frustration go away, and it brought me relief. Even the dizziness I didn't like just before made me feel like I was in a down-filled futon. I was falling asleep in that down-filled futon on my first night in a new world. This dizziness didn't go away for a few days, but I gradually got used to it. Can we please get A to B continued? Dear Lord! This is like an hour scene. This new world looked like the world I used to live in before. But the sunshine was a little bit brighter, and Keiichi-kun's smile looked a little bit more gentle than before. We made more noise than we used to. We spent every day slowly, but in high spirits. Oh, what an idiot I am. I underestimated that dizziness, and I caught a summer cold in June. I wanted to get better as soon as possible. I should have taken a day off from club activities, but I forced myself to play with them every day, and that made it hard for me to get better. I finally learned my lesson recently. I don't need to feel frustrated. There's no limit to happiness in this world. As long as we keep wishing for it, it'll continue forever. I don't need to feel frustrated anymore, because tomorrow, I will have this happiness I have today. There have been like 5 opportunities to have it to be continued, and they haven't taken it. We'll have the Watanagashi Festival next Sunday. Nothing bad happens at that festival. Michan tells us we'll have a lot of fun, and then we'll go extra crazy. I really can't wait. Come on, come on, come on. Finally! Not that that scene wasn't bad, but dear Lord, it's getting late. New tips acquired. Letter from the forestry office. Uh-oh. I get a bad feeling about this. Achievement unlocked. You're crying right now. Be forgiven. With a teardrop. We caught on our security camera. Someone buried the body. It's still June, yet the air is filled with the cries of the cicadas. How is everyone in Hinamizawa doing? The Watanagashi Festival is coming just around the corner. We staff members from the Forestry Service are going to perform a wood sculpting demonstration at the festival. We'll be happy to lend out our tools and teach your kids how to sculpt wood themselves. It'll be an excellent memorial gift. Also, we would like to inform everyone that we're going to cut down trees in the local hills this summer as part of the number redacted forest landscape management project. This project involves preserving the beauty of the forest by cutting down old trees and planting new ones. The Forestry Service needs volunteers who are interested in helping us cut down the old trees. You can enjoy the beauty of nature under the blue sky while helping out with this preservation activity. The project will begin during summer break, so you can bring your kids too. This will be a good opportunity for your kids to learn about nature and have a valuable experience. The locations of the projects are the forests of the Tatsukudo and Yagochi areas. I was waiting for that. Oh, they might be going to find the bodies. But that's okay. There will be nothing left to trace us back to us. Nothing bad will happen. All right, yeah, we're ending the stream there. A little bit longer than usual. My dad was texting me during that, so whoops. Sorry, Dad, couldn't respond during that time. It's okay, though. I had a lot of fun. That was a great stream. Really cool scenes, and I am loving this chapter so far, and let's hope it just continues. But clearly, things are going to get worse, because Watanagashi always brings worse things. So, all right, thanks for joining in and chatting, everybody. It was great hanging out with you all. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your night, and God bless everybody.